like I was straightening my hair.
1 minute
Doing it the
to.
other way.
It's about to be, yeah.
I don't know that I understand this hat. I'm having terrible trouble with the flipping
I haven't put mine on in ages.
of the camera because I'm like trying to straighten it, and it's the opposite way around to how it actually. There we go. I'm going to change this immediately from top chat to live chat. Cool.
Oh, yeah, I just have a notification. That's always a good sign.
Now we're alive.
Yeah.
Somebody's here. Name that musical. It's not really enough to go on.
No, I don't know if I know what you're talking
about. Somebody's here. Oh my God, cassette! I heard a cry in the dark. It's Les Miserables. Oh my God, hey everybody. Hello, Eva. You just finished my new video. Thank you. Good timing. I always feel weird about going live when I've just put out a video because it's like I'm sending mixed signals of people.
I guess it's a good way to tell people live that you've posted a new video.
Yes, and not everyone watches the challenges.
Yeah.
But they should.
The challenges are really, really fun.
Hi, Dylan.
I love the challenges.
Hi, Amanda. /Amanda.
They're a great way to learn more about the West End.
Well, this is the thing. Yeah.
It's a good way for us to educate you and it not be too boring.
Good evening,
Hello,
Donald. Hello, Christopher.
Can I ask my favourite question, which is, where is everybody watching from this evening?
Where are you watching from?
Or this morning?
Oh my God, hey, Darkman 2. Oh my God, hey, Andrew.
We might not have any of our Australian friends yet.
Amanda's from Australia.
Oh, yes.
I remember.
I thought we'd be too early.
Houston, Salop. Do I know where that is? Hi from NYC. Hello, Madeline. Lou, so glad you enjoyed the last challenge video. We had a lot of fun making it. It was about a month ago now, because it's taken a long time to put it all together. And I spent...
Thank you for the likes already.
10 hours today editing it.
You did spend a lot of today editing it.
My entire day. That video has been my entire day.
But the editing is incredible.
Thank you. Finally seeing Cabaret on Wednesday, and I'm so excited. Enjoy, Eva, enjoy. Is that on Broadway? I think it's on Broadway. Good evening from Catford. Looking forward to seeing John Lithgow and Giant later this month. It is a nice theatre. It's a lovely theatre, the Royal Court. And I saw it on Friday. And I'll be sharing my thoughts about it on Instagram and TikTok soon. But good news, everybody. By the way, I've had word that YouTube Shorts are about to become longer, because right now you can only upload 1 minute YouTube Shorts.
And then otherwise it's a video.
So a lot of my short reviews only appear on my TikTok or Instagram, but pretty soon I'm going to be able to put them all on YouTube.
Do you feel like they'll let you decide whether it's a short or a video?
I thought you said that wasn't going to happen.
Well, it wouldn't normally. It will happen if somebody hits the goal. I just didn't expect us to hit a goal that quick, so thank you, Jonathan.
How do we feel about the Sunset Boulevard walk in NYC? I think obviously it went a bit wrong when they collided with the audience from Hell's Kitchen because timings went wrong. And that can happen because live theatre, like shows get delayed, and theatres get evacuated, like shows get cancelled mid-show. Things happen.
It's like people getting used to, this is a bit sideways, but like it's like with stage doors, for example, it takes a show a week or so to know how many people are going to stage door for them to have an effective system there.
It's something that they're always going to have to work out. Weather is the other factor. So Madeline makes the good point. I'm scared for when it snows. And Tom Francis is from the UK. He's used to a bit of weather.
Yeah.
And like, there's a set path. I guess they'll just go and like assess the path beforehand and clear it. But
we need to clear the fact that the roof is not an option.
The roof is not an option. This is
everybody keeps saying the roof is an option.
Everyone thinks
we haven't updated Kate about this.
No, everyone thinks they were, because there was like, they could see they were doing something on the roof from like another tall building. This is about Sunset Boulevard in New York, by the way. And everyone was like, oh, that they must be getting the roof ready to be a backup or to be the option. No, the roof is being renovated. That's the reason they can't use the roof. The roof is out. The roof is not an option unless we are being lied to, which is also a possibility.
And I haven't realized this until right now.
What?
Look, we're both wearing Marvel.
That's because I'm wearing your hoodie. I'm dressed very hip-hop producer this evening.
Sure you have?
It's not deliberate. Oh, this is a...
Sorry, it's because
we're on TikTok.
We're on TikTok as well, so it's just making sure that they could see. Sarah put, saw Ghost on Tuesday and spoke to Ellie, but I can't go on the tube without saying shows I've seen. Oh, we do that. We point at them.
Yeah. Hello from the Upper West Side in NYC. Hello. I haven't visited the Upper West Side very much. Been to a couple of, like a tiki bar and a restaurant up there.
Leo went to see Starlight yesterday.
Oh. Did you enjoy? I'd go back to see Starlight again soon.
I'd like to see it again soon and see colours.
Daylight savings has just hit in Australia, so it's 8:02 a.m.
Oh, yes, it all happens. It all ricochets between.
Because then daylight savings is going to come
here and then New York on the
and
weekend.
then New York straight on at the same time.
Hello,
Benjamin in Brooklyn.
Maisie's watching on way back from work at Brighton.
Oh, how fun! Paige is seeing Grease tour next month. Enjoy. Oh no, Eva, you're UK based on the West End. Well, enjoy. Have a lovely time. Finally seeing Cabaret. Get there early.
Oh, Louis said. Oh, go ahead.
I would say definitely at least like 40 minutes.
Yes.
Early. I'd try and get there before 7 for a 7:30 or before 2 for a 2:30. Like at least 40 minutes before curtain, and then on the hour, hang out in the Gold Bar. You will know there's a red bar and a gold bar and a green bar. I, for the longest time, didn't go upstairs and check out the green bar. Do check out the green bar. And have a cocktail if you want one. You don't have to have a cocktail, but
just West End.
Yes. Because for the longest time, I didn't even really investigate that space.
I was only saying because it's like you'd say, oh, it's the exact same system for Broadway, which it is. But the gold bar is the performance bar, but the levels are flipped because the red bar's in the middle.
Yes, you're right. The red bar's in the middle.
Yeah. Whereas in the West End, the red bar's downstairs.
Yeah. Have some mini Toblerone if you feel like it. Dylan says if we do a challenge again, we should add a 20-point task if we meet a well-known theatre producer. They're even scarier to stop on the street than the actors.
That wouldn't really be possible as easily. What's funny is we have passed Cameron McIntosh at a tube station.
You would need to offer me 1,000 points to get me to not be too scared to stop Cameron McIntosh. Oh, we're frozen on TikTok.
Oh, that's weird. Becoming Nancy is something special. I've seen it twice so far.
We're seeing it out on press night, week after this one.
Yes.
In about like 9 days, I think. Do you know, getting ready to snatch some Much Ado tickets on Tuesday. May the odds be ever in your favor. Seeing Heartstopper, seeing Hayley Atwell.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing her in Heartstopper made me very excited for her Beatrice in Much Ado. The casting, I think, is brilliant. It's the Jamie Lloyd component of it all. And something beeped.
I don't think that started. It's the lights on.
No, it hasn't started. I'll let you. Aaron's going to fight with the dishwasher. I have a lot of faith in Jamie Lloyd, and I love Sunset, and I famously did not like Romeo and Juliet, and I think Tempest will be great, and I'm worried about Much Ado. So it's very much like, it's not, I don't universally, everything the man touches. I think there are right shows for him and not.
Audra or Nicole for the Tony. Audra hasn't started yet, so we don't know what this production's like.
I think Nicole will make it much more of a race than people are anticipating.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you're already asking the question. And I don't want people to rule out Katie Braben, you know. She won the Olivier with a very great performance.
Yeah.
But obviously a lot of heat behind the other shows. Do we know who's going to be Celine? Do you mean in Titanic in London?
I think so.
The answer is yes.
Yeah. But I think we'll find out tomorrow morning.
Oh, it's a fun choice. I'm not even going to begin to give a clue.
No.
But it's a fun choice, and it's like at the intersection of great vocals and wacky, kooky, comedic personality. But also it's something that this person hasn't really had the chance to do on stage before. But I've said enough. I've said too much, if anything.
Oh, Louis said, are you reviewing Becoming Nancy? You are?
Yeah, I'll be reviewing it.
I'm so excited to watch it.
I've already written a review of the album that I think will be in Musicals Magazine next month. Or is it this month? No, I think it's next month. I think it's going to be the November.
It's next month, because I bought the recent one.
Yeah.
With the current one has your Gatsby review.
Yeah. Pick up a copy of Musicals Magazine, everyone, if you want to read some album reviews from me over the next couple of months. Not to bring down the room, but I'm still really sad about Gavin Creel passing away. You and me both.
Yeah.
Are there any online events happening to honour him? There was a vigil this evening in London.
But I think there probably will be, or there'll be like events that will happen, or just I think in general, just everybody sharing their
I don't think
memories
immediately. I know Finn to the Woods on TikTok did a special podcast episode as a tribute to Gavin, as well as Dame Maggie Smith and Ken Page this weekend. I want to do something on YouTube, just sort of like a tribute memorial thing. I tried to film something the evening of, and it was just way too soon, and it was just I think I needed to just talk to a camera about it to just get that out of my system, and then realize about halfway through this is not the way I wanted to do this, and I didn't want it to be something that lived forever as a time capsule for that moment of grief, because then it would always be traumatizing to watch back, and I wanted something that like a week, a month, a year later, people can watch and be like, it can bring the joy of his amazing life rather than forever memorializing how devastating and shocking it was. That's not the thing to hold on to.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to rush it, but I'm going to put something together. That challenge was great. Ellie's interaction with...
We couldn't believe it when Ellie told us what happened. You'll have to watch the challenge.
We said at the beginning of that challenge, like there is one 10-point task in the scavenger hunt. We do not anticipate anyone doing it.
Daisy, I literally shouted and jumped for joy when I found out that you were in Becoming Nancy. I was just like, yes. We're coming to see it.
We are.
Very soon.
And we've already been
really
listening
excited.
to On the Night Bus on repeat.
Obsessed with the Night Bus.
On the Night Bus. Dylan, you walked past Sonia Friedman a couple nights ago. Ask her about Stereophonic. I already have, but more people should. I understand that SUF still has tickets available on election night. The energy will be off the charts. I mean, I think whatever happens, it will, because I think it'll either just be very celebratory if it seems to be going the right way, the good way, or it'll be
a room full of everybody just having full emotions and connected. And I think, and also Shayna will be back for that, because Shayna will have been in ragtime. So also there'll be this big feelings about having her back in the room, that moment of them all being connected. Thank you for joining my team, part of your Broadway World Pop.
Someone's joined Aaron's team. For those of you who haven't seen one of our lives recently, we've been doing this thing where we are simultaneously live on my YouTube channel and on Aaron's TikTok. So if you're watching on TikTok, I am MickeyJoTheatre. You can find me on YouTube. You can find both of us on YouTube, in fact, and you can find both of us on TikTok.
Yeah.
And if you're watching on YouTube, then you can find at Aaron James UK on TikTok.
Yeah. So we do both live. So if depending on preference, you can watch the live on both of them.
Yeah. I have mixed feelings about the idea of seeing, because we're going to be in the US over the election.
Is that new news, or did you announce it in your Broadway roundup video?
I didn't say exact dates we're going to be going, but I said this month, and that we're going for a decent long amount of time. So we're going to be in the US seeing Broadway and off-Broadway shows over the election. Not a lot of shows are playing on that Tuesday, understandably. And I have mixed feelings about going to see SUFs, because it'll be amazing, but I almost feel weird about it. Like I'm taking up space in the theatre that would mean more to American women.
Yeah.
Or like to Americans in general, or to women in general, and like I'm neither of us and either of those things.
No, and then part of me feels like that being like a nice evening rest for us to be in.
Yeah, but also, they've had time to book tickets. If there's still tickets available, it's not like I've snatched them from the hands of an American woman. Like they have had the opportunity. Anyway,
thank you everybody so much for the likes on the TikTok. It really makes a difference to how this does. You have a hot finger as well, but I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it means. Eva, you're going back to New York first week of November like us. Maybe we'll see you there. We have this sort of long-running habit of accidentally running into people from the UK while we're in New York. We've made a lot of British friends in New York.
In New York, because of overlapping trips.
Love the Marvel sweatshirt. Thank you. It's Aaron's. I don't know why I'm showing you this bit.
Yeah, and I'm wearing my One Division t-shirt.
Have you watched Agatha all along?
Obsessed. We are obsessed.
Aaron is particularly obsessed because
I've always been obsessed with Marvel.
And then Aaron watches.
I watch other reaction videos and the sport and the details stuff.
Yeah,
very very big into the MCU.
Yeah, you're Marvel obsession, I guess, began with the MCU and with like the films and such.
Yeah, like I got like Marvel Unlimited and have read comics and
Yeah.
read certain runs, but like mainly I got into it by seeing like how the connective universe works with the MCU and them translating things because I found that interesting.
Yeah. We are going to MusicalCon this year.
Yeah, we can now say we can because this is the first time we've been able to.
We are officially going to MusicalCon. I think I will just be there on the Saturday.
And I will be there for both days.
You'll be there on both days because I have a show on the Sunday at the Phoenix Arts Club. But if you are going to MusicalCon, you can still make my show. But I'm going to lunch with a friend and then I'm going to like sound check and take my time and not be rushing between the two. But there is plenty of time because I think MusicalCon finishes at like 4 or 5 on the Sunday.
I think so, yeah.
And my show's at 7:30, so plenty of time.
What did we think of the second iteration of Down the Witch's Road? Well, there's 2 different versions that have been released from that episode: the Lorna Wu version and then the version that they sing. The Lorna Wu version is really cool, which is the
I haven't
mom's
listened to it yet.
the mom's track because it's properly like.
Is it giving
done.
stereophonic?
Yes.
That's what
But I'm obsessed with the version with Patty playing 5 different instruments and switching. Her with the maracas is a moment.
I wanted her to play her tuba from the Sweeney Todd revival. Darling Man 2 says, "Hey Mickey, I was telling Aaron the other day how much I enjoyed Burlesque and Come From Away. We also enjoyed Come From Away, and we've been hearing good things about Burlesque. Doesn't it seem like Burlesque is getting ready to announce something on socials?"
Maybe they are. But they said London, are you ready? I think so. I think they've already hinted where.
Do you remember when A Strange Loop announced that they were going to the Barbican and everyone was not expecting that show in that venue?
Yeah.
I'm almost going to say get ready to do the same thing with Burlesque. It's not the Barbican. I'm not saying that because it's the Barbican, but get ready to be surprised by
where it's going,
where Burlesque ends up in London. That is what I will say. And I may have bad intel, but I have it on very good authority that I don't. Stop trying to make fetch happen, Mickey. I know. I actually really like the back of the hat that says Minga. I'm probably more likely to wear it this way around because I don't understand. And this is very much a style of baseball cap, but like...
Is this my one or a different one?
That's your one. I don't understand the really flat, like I would expect it to do this. Do I need to break it in?
I think that's the same because this is really flat at the front.
It's like a style, but it's very like hip hop. Hello from the east side of Southampton. Hello. Hi, Mickey, Jo, and Aaron James. I'm looking forward to seeing Dear Evan Hansen in Oxford soon in November. I also saw my friend Freya Wilson in the Addams Family musical in Newbury at the Corn Exchange. Oh, I saw. We were there not too long ago to see Rachel
Corn
Tucker.
Exchange recently.
And we saw they were doing Addams Family. Any news when Hadestown West End cast album is out?
I haven't seen anything yet.
No, but it's a good question because most of the people on it have left the show soon.
I would expect it before Christmas because I feel like Christmas is like the gifts, the presents, and I could see it being part of that. I mean, like with Starlight Express and that coming out soon, it all feels like we get.
When is Starlight Express coming out?
Later this month.
So is Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
What a time! What a
so
time!
many new cast recordings, and then you've got all the Broadway ones that'll be on their way soon because we have so many new shows opening.
I'm fairly certain someone on your TikTok has just referred to me as looking like a young Louis Theroux. And I hate that I can see it. I do. But I used to get Sue Perkins when I didn't have a beard and young Rolf Harris when I did. So I think that's better, honestly, than maybe either of those. There you go. I live in Lincoln Center in the Upper West Side, and it's gorgeous today.
Wow.
Hoping to see Robert Downey Jr. out and about.
Yeah, that must just be a thing. Unless he gets dropped off and picked up.
Oh, I mean,
in that underground parking bit.
I don't know in New York because like Sarah Jessica Parker rides the subway.
I mean, Imelda Staunton, we learned from Jodie Jacobs, also rode the underground all the time and just put a hat on so that she wasn't recognised.
I think really the only reason to get like a car in New York is because you just like it does feel so close together. But I guess to avoid if celebrities don't want to take the subway.
I was about to say, it must be like, I can't even imagine what it's like as celebrities because it's sometimes not even like things they would personally want to do, but more just a sense of being able to live a
life. The subway can also be a little bit hairy at the best of times. I'll be completely honest with you.
Jonathan updated on that. Robert never staged doors, so he's probably coming to the theatre by car.
I can't rationalise him being called Robert. Like, Robert in isolation feels weird.
RDJ.
He's RDJ
Yeah.
or nothing. Hello, my beautiful youth, my innocent tenderness. That's the username on YouTube. I'm not just saying that. Dylan says, looking forward to your next live show. Have a couple of friends who definitely want to come. Oh, Dylan, that would be so cool. I appreciate it. You're doing marketing for me.
Make sure they book tickets before they sell out.
There you go. There you go. Because we've just announced some very exciting guests.
Exciting stuff.
And we have a bonus guest. So if you haven't heard me say this, my next live show on the 20th of October, MickeyJoTheatre Live, a West End chat show at the Phoenix Arts Club that you can watch in person or via live stream anywhere around the world. I will be joined by Tobias Turley, who has just finished his run as Sky in Mamma Mia, having won Mamma Mia, I Have a Dream. You may also know him from the Scene Stealers podcast or from Heathers. Also, Joaquin Pedro Valdez, most recently seen in The Baker's Wife at the Miniature Chocolate Factory.
And he was one of the leads in Death Note.
He was one of the leads in Death Note. He's also been in Heathers, been on the Lion King tour. He's done a huge amount of stuff. Really exciting, lovely guy. And Matt Harvey, who used to be a performer and is now a very exciting musical theatre composer.
Used to. Recently had to save the tour of Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah, ongoingly. But his primarily his focus, I guess, is a really exciting musical theatre composer. He's written a new musical called Unbound, which is a little bit a high school horror-y, a little bit Carrie, a little bit Heathers, a little bit spooky, a little bit Hocus Pocus. That's having a concert production at the end of this month, just in time for Halloween. So he's going to be teasing a little bit of the music from that and talking about writing it, but he's bringing that show's star with him as well. And I thought this was a very testosterone heavy month, but we will be joined by a Six Queen, by one of the first ever alternate Six Queens, Courtney Stapleton. Courtney Stapleton will be at MickeyJoTheatre Live. I'm very excited about that.
Very cool.
Yeah. So get your tickets if that sounds exciting to you. We had a blast in September. It was the most fun. And if you can't make it in person, you can watch via live stream. And I've now been sent the live stream for September, and they did a really great job.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It's filmed on multiple cameras. It looks great. Yeah.
What was my favourite thing at the Fringe this year? I will say Cyrano.
Cyrano,
which you can watch at the Park Theatre over this Christmas.
Yeah,
it was phenomenal.
Cyrano.
Honestly, loved it so much.
It was really good. That's Virginia Gay's version of Cyrano. Australians, that may already be known to you because it was very successful down under.
And I saw a show twice during Fringe, and you saw one show twice, and that was I'm Almost There, which is going to New York.
Yes. Did you say you only saw one show twice?
Yes.
That's a lie, because we also went to see Who Do You Love, the Casey and the Sunshine.
Oh yeah, we saw that twice as well.
We saw that twice.
Oh wow! Owner's got YouTube on the big screen and TikTok on my little screen.
We're everywhere.
I mean, I don't think we are going to get to see Carrie's tour, sadly.
No, it was in London the same night as Ghost.
Yeah, and then it's been regional, but it's just been we've just been not.
I've heard it's lovely.
Around. Yeah,
I've heard
it looks
it's a lovely
really
show.
cool. The set's stupidly cool.
But also, I'm very excited to see her do Calamity Jane.
Yes,
which will always be more interesting to me, is to see a performer playing a role in a show.
Oh, I'm Almost There closed yesterday.
Yeah, at the Minetta Lane, I guess, if it's audible.
And I think they're doing a cast. They done a cast recording or filmed it or some form.
They've recorded it for Audible, I guess.
Yeah.
Jennifer,
like that happened.
Jennifer is seeing Sunset Boulevard and the Big Gay Jamboree in a few weeks. Are you seeing them on the same day? Is that a 2-show day? Because that's a wild 2-show day. Very excited to find out more about the Big Gay Jamboree, but I trust Marla Mindell with my life.
I'm just excited to see her again.
Yeah. Eva, you're so excited to see Adam Gillen as the MC. He's the reason I finally decided to take the plunge and get a ticket. He's fantastic. He was so good in Amadeus at the National Theatre. That's some really luxury theatrical casting for that role. And when the next MC and Sally Bowles come in, it's going to be very different to this cast.
We're hoping we'll get to see R&J on Broadway, but we don't know yet.
Listen,
it's a hot ticket.
I will stand on the street at 7 a.m. if I have to. I desperately need to be able to tell the people of the internet Tom Holland Romeo and Juliet versus Rachel Zegler Kit Connor Romeo and Juliet, and that's a huge oversimplification because there was also Francesca Amoruda Rivers, but Jamie Lloyd Romeo and Juliet versus Sam Gold Romeo and Juliet, like, we need to be able to make that comparison video. Isn't Hamilton box office since releasing the Pro Shot good data to support they wouldn't hurt theatre?
Oh, I get what that means. So
Yes.
that means, yeah.
I guess it's difficult to make. Hamilton is a bit of an isolated example, so it's difficult to make that case.
I feel like
for all of them.
I feel like when we find out what's going to happen with the 6 Pro Shot, 6 might be another case study as to say multiple shows it can work with. I mean, Come From Away still running, and that's got it.
I don't think this has ever been
where it was.
This is what people say online, but I don't think for the powers that be and for the people and the producers involved in that conversation, that's ever the issue. I don't think it's ever like, oh, we don't want to release the Pro Shot because then people won't want to go see it in person. I don't think that's what's holding them back. I think it's surprisingly expensive to do, especially for Broadway shows, because you have a lot of like union stuff.
It's why we see a lot of shows come to the UK to be filmed.
Yeah, but it's expensive.
I think the other thing with it, and I think you'll agree with me on it, is like there's a lot of things that have been filmed, but then it's less for filming and more for distribution. And like there are smaller streaming sites that they could go to, or they can go to like the big sites, but ones that maybe people don't subscribe to as often. Like how many people had Apple TV Plus to see Come From Away? How many people had these different sites? How many people on here has like Broadway HD? Like I think it depends as well. Like Hamilton got Disney Plus, and like that's a discussion as well.
Leo, I went to the SpongeBob musical Act 2 taping. I saw Act 2, and you can see me at the start of Act 2. My next show is Carrie Hepfletter in Edinburgh on the 15th, which I have a meet and greet ticket for. Enjoy. It's the start of my stagey week for MusicalCon. Oh, maybe we'll see you at MusicalCon. Any speculation as to where How to Dance in Ohio might end up in London in 2025? Somewhere like the Young Vic, perhaps. You know, I thought the Young Vic when they first said it, but they didn't say London, they said UK. And I wonder if it won't actually be London. I wonder if it's going to be somewhere regional.
Maybe somewhere like the Leicester Curve.
Somewhere like the Leicester Curve, or somewhere like
Sheffield.
I don't know where the Lowry entered my head. Oh, Leeds. Yeah. I
mean, somewhere like Leeds might be good if it was linked with Leeds, because
the water bottle is from, someone asked on YouTube, the water bottle is from Tesco. It's just a large water bottle. TikTok, don't get excited. I'm not selling it. I have no commission.
Leeds might be somewhere that's good because their access provisions are so
This is the thing, is I think it should go somewhere that can really nurture that show, and where it aligns with the ethos. To that end, at Soho Place.
Yeah.
I don't know. At Soho Place don't really seem to know what they're programming at the moment, so
it varies a lot.
That'd be a good fit for them. Hello, Josh. What do you think about the Sunset Boulevard controversy of starting outside and pushing pedestrians around? I haven't seen a pedestrian getting pushed who wasn't being obnoxious, honestly. And it's possible there's more. I haven't been watching every single day to be like, how did it go today? How did it go today? How did it go today? I saw the person in the blue hat getting moved out of the way. They're not being thrown to the ground. It's not WWE. And it was very clear to give them space, and person with the blue hat did not want to. Person with the blue hat wanted to be involved and wanted to be right up in there. And I'm not about to mess with security people walking around on the street. Obviously, coinciding with the cast coming out of Hell's Kitchen wasn't ideal, but I thought they handled it pretty damn well. I don't think it needs to be a controversy.
I think our friend Kate Rankings just put up a TikTok discussing it all in depth. But
so is Grace.
Kate's is interesting to watch, and I think should be watched because Kate worked in crowd control at theme parks. So like Kate discusses like a lot of that element and actually like how things work in that sense.
Yeah. Are you guys seeing Swept Away on your trip, as that's the main show I'm going back to New York for? Yes, we're going to try to. We're going to try everything that's new, especially in the musical world. The only new things there's like one new play on Broadway and one opened play that was not reviewed well that we won't necessarily prioritize, but everything else we're going to try and see as much as possible. We're going for a really long time.
Yeah.
So we're going to see a lot. Don't cry for us, Argentina. We'll be fine. Amanda's going to book tickets for Titanic, Well-Behaved Women, and Holiday Inn to see in the coming weeks. This is in Australia. Next show is a community production of Kiss Me Kate.
Very fun.
Enjoy. What happened to the Death Note concept recording?
I forgot about that.
Do you know, I suspect they will weaponize it and release it when they have news.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are we going
which-
to repeat any shows in New York?
Jonathan, yes, that's correct. Are we going to repeat any shows in New York?
Possibly if there ends up being gaps, but maybe not specifically. There's like new cast, like the Cabaret new cast and stuff that we might try
Cabaret?
to see.
Little Shop?
Yeah, there might be a show we're trying to see in New York that's changed since it was in the West End.
Oh, The Hills of California. Yeah. A fair few things that we've seen before, yes. And maybe Suffs. We're kind of toying. We've never seen any Broadway show more than twice.
Yeah.
And that would be one that we'd have seen 3 times, but we do really love Suffs.
Yeah.
Stereophonic, I think we might try and go back to as
So
well.
new cast. Callum, please feel free to say hi if you see us this year. Like, if anybody sees us in New York or in London or at MusicalCon, especially MusicalCon, please feel free to say hi. Like, we will just be roaming about. We might be like the only time we might be rushing is if we're rushing to get to like one of the things on the stage and we've been stuck
If it's
somewhere.
anything like last year, we'll be there all day on the Saturday.
Walking around and chatting, and I'll be there on the Sunday.
Make sure you come find us.
Yeah.
Yes, William, to answer your question, I'm coming to MusicalCon on the Saturday. Aaron should be there on both days.
Yes.
Oh, I'm more behind on questions than I thought I was. Hold on.
I will let you go forward as this isn't that delayed.
Do you know anything about Death Becomes Her? Only the little preview that I've seen, and it looks very campy and fun. And I like their marketing. They're doing a great job. I'm very excited to go see it. Are you going to review Oliver before or when it comes to the West End? Well, I didn't see it in Chichester, and it's now closed in Chichester because I've been waiting deliberately for it to come to the Gielgud, and I will review it there, I think, is the plan. But I'm not officially booked into it yet, so hopefully. Did you book the shows for NYC, or will you stand in line the day of, or both? Bit of both. Usually always a bit of both. Some will book some beforehand, and then others we will stand in line.
And you can see most of that in the vlogs.
Yes.
You can see a lot of how we got things, or like which shows we rushed for, and any tips we have of rush tickets in the videos.
Yeah, I think it was the April trip this year where I was getting really tired, and like I was saying by the end, I can't keep doing rush lines every morning and staying out till 2 a.m. every night. That was New York, truly the city that never sleeps, and they mean it. So getting up at 7 a.m. to head into Manhattan, if you're not staying in the theatre district, to go stand in a rush line every day, and then seeing 1 or 2 shows a day every day, it takes it out of you. It gets to be tiring. So I don't recommend trying to do that every single day, especially if it's a long trip, because you'll just exhaust yourself. Unless you have the discipline to have an early night in New York, which is not something that we have figured out yet. Because we're too excited to be there and see all our friends. Gavin Krill was such a light in the community. All of his work was so beautiful. Yes, I feel very lucky to have seen him on stage twice in the Book of Mormon and Waitress.
I didn't get a chance to see him live, unfortunately, but I absolutely loved every time that I watched. Just general clips or when we watched She Loves Me.
Yeah.
And we didn't watch She Loves Me that long ago.
No, we were just watching that the other day. Yeah. Are you watching Strictly this year? No, sadly not. We've got a lot of TV commitments at the moment because we're watching Agatha All Along, Only Murders in the Building.
We just binge watched Heartstopper season 3. Loved it.
Whacked all that out. Susan went to see Oedipus with Mark Strong recently. Did you enjoy, Susan? What are your thoughts on Greek tragedy? I've not seen a huge amount of Greek tragedy in my lifetime.
You've seen a lot of Hades Town.
I know, but that's adapted Greek tragedy. I'm really intrigued about the 2 different Oedipuses, Oedipodes.
I feel like Oedipi sounds better.
Oedipodes, I think, is the correct conjugation. Someone told me. It's been a long time since my GCSE Latin. It's been a real long time. I once tried to see The Back Eye. I think it was at the Almeida with Ben Whishaw, and I couldn't get tickets. But enjoy the real thing. I enjoyed it very much. Went to see Becoming Nancy yesterday. Word of advice, check football fixtures if traveling. Football fans and theatre kids do not mix. Oh, no. We've encountered that before. I've had that before on the train back from Southampton, back in my teenage theatre-going days.
But Rachel, we are seeing Becoming Nancy very soon.
We are seeing Becoming Nancy on its press night week after next. When do you find going to New York most affordable? January, March. Avoid UK school holidays. Avoid the summer. I think March was one of...
March was probably one of the best ones.
January, March,
yeah.
And then probably maybe November as well, I think is considered like the slower month for theatre.
And it's kind of, you're avoiding like the peak like tourist moments, which is like Christmas and summer.
Yeah.
And Tony season when it gets very expensive.
Speaking of Oedipus, that's a great question, Eva. Do we think the Old Vic production of Oedipus will be able to be as successful as it could be after the Robert Ick production? I mean, I don't know how many people will be desperate to go and see Oedipus #2 months, weeks after seeing the first one.
But I also think there's a difference in that, like, one is commercial West End and one is a subsidized theatre. Like, the Old Vic has their own, like, their newsletter.
They do, but do we think the audience is all that different?
I think there's a theatre loyalty that happens.
Sure, I think a lot of people will go to the Old Vic because they go to the Old Vic,
and like the Old Vic run will get like front loaded because of the finger tickets.
I think the star power is. I think the star power is more in the Old Vic. I think Rami Malek and Indira Varma have a little bit more, maybe drawing a younger audience than Mark Strong and Leslie Manville. But I would say that the Old Vic's subscriber base would be an older audience than the commercial West End one of the Wyndhams. So it's tricky. I think they're hitting the same crowds in different ways.
I think we might get the orange aping where the Oedipus one gets referred to as sexy Oedipus.
I would love for one of them to be sexy Oedipus, but I don't know. Imagine they're both bad. Imagine that. Anyway, hopefully they're both great in different ways. Do you have the Wicked movie stuffed Burr and Chistry? Burr, if you don't know.
I feel like this is from my education. So Burr, B-R-R-R, is the name of the Cowardly Lion in the Gregory Maguire books. I do not know if there is any reference to him being called that in the films at all, because in the show, he's just referred to as the Lion Cub and the lion in Act 2 when he's off stage. The lion
also has a grievance to repay.
That is because the musical is based on that book series. I like to refer to him as Burr because that is his name.
Haven't bought them yet. But
we've seen them in person.
I have gone to see them in person.
Which you can see on my TikTok.
Yeah, Erin's making TikToks about all the Wicked merch, all the Wicked movie merch that we find in the wild.
They look, and we're going to end up getting them. I'm very thrown by, I want to know how easy in the film it is to know it's Chistery. That's something I'm intrigued about. It's like how easy you can tell it's Chistery in the film.
Yeah.
When there's so many monkeys.
Yeah. Pablo says, I heard they're trying to transfer Once Upon a One More Time, that's the Britney Spears catalogue featuring musical that was on Broadway at the Marquee, to the West End. Do you have any info on this? I feel like I heard something about it, but it was a while ago. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me if they tried to do the same thing with Heart of Rock and Roll. A lot of jukebox stuff does better here. There's a musical. We just went to a workshop the other day of, I don't think it was embargoed. I think we can say what it was.
Yeah, it was announced.
Yeah, Personality, a Lloyd Price musical, which is another biopic jukebox musical about Lloyd Price, the singer, songwriter, musician. And that had been done regionally in the US, but seems to be focusing West End prior to Broadway. And I think jukebox has always been looked at as something that does better here, but Ain't Too Proud did not. I think it did as well here as it did on Broadway.
No. We also just have a thing of we do not have any theatres that are free.
We do not have any theatres.
We have
that
a
are free.
lot of shows that are waiting, like a lot of shows.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the new Robbie Williams trailer, but it's weird.
Oh, the one where he's a monkey?
But it is his story, but he's a CGI monkey.
There's too many of these music biopic films, so I'm all for something.
Well, the Pharrell one's a Lego one as well.
It's exactly what I was thinking of. Yes. Did you enjoy Why Am I So Single? Ellie says, hello, do you think theatre is becoming more elitist? I'm a theatre-loving girl, but I've recently become unemployed. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And the prices now make me feel a tad lost and out of the theatre family. It's very tricky. And it can be really very alienating. There's a lot of...
I feel like there's a lot of not spaces that you can go to that aren't, that you can... We were talking about this recently. Like,
that's a separate conversation, because that's not to do with like being able to see shows.
Yeah, I just meant like feeling out of the theatre family. I think that also adds to like there not being those spaces to be able to speak to similar minds other than
like the
people out of
community.
theatre. Yeah, because I feel like even if you weren't seeing shows that often, you'd still be like interacting with people outside of seeing shows. And I don't think London compared to New York has many places where you can feel stagey unless you're at the theatre.
It's difficult because it obviously is very expensive, and even with deals, even with day tickets, rush tickets, I don't know if you're UK or US based, I feel like there are more ways to get, I feel like it's easier to get cheaper discounted tickets more regularly in the West End, not necessarily regional UK, but in the West End than it is in New York.
Right. Yeah, you have to kind of be here to be able to, like, you have to be in London really to do day tickets very easily, or be on a trip to be able to fit them in, which is the hard part.
Even with that, with the online theatre community, there becomes this pressure of like, have you seen this? Have you seen this? Like, everyone's now talking about this. Everyone's now talking about Sunset, which is going to be this expensive hot ticket.
Romeo and Juliet.
There's not a lot of, and it's a shame with something like Romeo and Juliet, and I haven't seen it yet, but the word on the street, TikTok, is that like this production is like more for a young audience, energizing young audience, made to appeal to a young audience. But if the ticket prices don't reflect that, then it's tricky. At the same time, it's still a difficult industry, and theatre has to be able to make money. But I'm a firm believer in there being provision for young people, for people unable to afford those higher price tickets. We need there to be a range of ticket prices, and that means premium tickets that subsidize lower ticket prices. I got very annoyed at the Old Vic a few years ago because they discontinued their young person's ticket scheme, and I don't know how much uptake there was of it. I was using it a lot. I don't know that it was bringing in loads of people, and maybe it wasn't working for them, but they discontinued that, and they made it, and they subsidized their early previews instead. So all their preview prices are now cheap, regardless of whether or not you can afford more expensive tickets. And I feel like that is taking away a scheme that was about getting young people into any show throughout the run, and it became about getting the audience at the first couple of previews to be really excited because they'd paid barely anything for an amazing show, and it makes it buzzier and you get great word of mouth.
There's also just the lack of education about stuff, like places saying about it, like the national rush tickets and the...
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like we...
For almost all shows in London, there are ways to get cheaper tickets.
My bigger issue and standing is with regional venues and not doing it, and regional touring venues not doing it.
Yeah.
That's where I have an issue, where it's nearly the same amount of money to buy tickets to a regional touring show as it is in the West End. But the difference is you can get different discounted tickets on the day at standby rate, anything rate on the day to see a show in the West End, whereas on tour you cannot. And that I don't understand, and I don't know how you can justify where it is cheaper to get a train to London to see the same show than it is to see it in your local venue. And that I have an issue with, because I don't understand if you can afford to do rush tickets or on the day tickets to fill those free seats in London, why can't you do that on tour?
Yeah. I mean, I'm waiting to see what mincemeat pricing is like on Broadway, because I don't think they're going to have every seat in that theatre, the Golden Theatre on Broadway, the same price like they do in the West End, at which point I expect British audiences and the British fans to take them to task on that and say, well, why there and why not here? I live near Leicester Curve, and it cost me less to go to the West End. We do get unique shows there. Yeah, there's a brilliant theatre at the Leicester Curve. But yes, the regional theatre, because of the lack of discounting day tickets, those kind of promotions can be.
Sorry, I ranted then, but
that's fine.
That's something that I'm seeing more and more that I can't.
Yeah.
That everybody wants to talk about West End ticket prices, but really, like these touring, the thing that gets me is these touring shows are not going to subsidized venues. They're going to commercial venues.
And sometimes they play to, this was years ago that I'm thinking of this, really quiet houses. There was a show that just really wasn't selling well at a theatre near me where I grew up. And I was like, there was nothing below.
I heard that before.
I was a teenager, and there was nothing below 30 quid, which at that point, working my 3.5 hours a week at the library was more than I could pay for from my pocket money. But yeah, that seemed bizarre to me. And you just know that, like, these were the days like someone would be walking around the town centre giving out discounts, and I'm like, can I find this person? But they're not doing anything at the box office. Anyway.
Let's catch up on these ones.
Yes. Someone asked on TikTok, shows to see before the year ends, shows to like prioritize seeing. And I would say go see Why Am I So Single? Go see, what else to show to see before the, I mean, there's various things that are limited runs. So be aware of that when some stuff is not going to be around forever, like the David Tennant Macbeth.
If you want to see Rachel Tucker and Trevor Dean and Nicholas in Hadestown, make sure you could see
February. Yeah.
They're only staying until February.
Yeah. Do you think we'll have to wait for both the Aladdin tour and the Mary Poppins tour before we see a Frozen tour of the UK?
I don't think we'll have to wait for the Mary Poppins tour to finish, just because of the producing differences. Because Mary Poppins is a co-production, and like, I think Disney treat Mary Poppins separately in a lot of ways too.
I think let Aladdin finish, and then we might hear about Frozen. Mary Poppins is kind of separate to that conversation, as you say. Oh, Ellie, thank you. That's lovely. That's a lovely thing to say. The fall schmackery's flavors are divine. Madeline, that's such great news. I can taste them already.
We need to make sure our friend Sean gets it, because our friend Sean, aka Theatre Fans, going this week.
Yes. If anyone knows our friend Sean from the internet and is based in New York, message him, get in touch with him. He is going to New York. It's his first trip ever.
Yeah.
I remember our first trip. We're now like jaded travelers who are like back in Manhattan. But Sean's going for the very first time, and we're hoping that he has the most magical trip. So do reach out, get in touch with Sean. Do you try the themed drinks when you see a show? Always, every single time. We love a themed snack. We love a themed beverage. We love marketing. We know we do.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Oh, lovely message. Thank you so much. Fanboy of everything. I'm talking to you. Thank you so much. That's a really lovely thing to say. Susan, I concur. In fact, there already is an opera based on The Handmaid's Tale. That was an opera, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was
Yeah, and there's probably been a parody musical at the Fringe as well. Have we got any Wicked movie merch yet?
I've done the series on it, but I haven't actually bought anything that is yet.
The H&M hoodie, I can take or leave. I'm waiting. I need everything to roll out so I know what I can't buy. No one can buy all the Wicked movie.
The M&S,
there is so much.
The M&S range we haven't seen in person yet. But that's like a decision for Christmas, because it's the ornaments and the snow globe and the tree ornaments. But I feel like they're yay. But I kind of been seeing it and then deciding, because I think it's like a case of...
We've never decorated our own home for Christmas before.
We partly did.
But we didn't have a tree.
No, we weren't here.
And I worry about when we start buying musical theatre Christmas ornaments, that's going to become our new thing of like... When anyone's like, we're going to... And so that's like a floodgate that's going to suddenly open.
Caitlin, yes, Little Shop of Horrors in Sheffield is kind of on our plans to see.
Georgina Onwara in Little Shop of Horrors, I'm there. I'm already there.
Yeah.
The show hasn't started yet, but I'm there. Hi from Orlando, Florida. Hi, Robert. Another hurricane coming our way this week. Do you get them in the UK? Mercifully, we don't. wishing you lots of
Yeah.
safety. Make sure you're staying safe with that. I mean, do we get like...
We have different kinds of weather. Somewhere had like not a tornado.
We get things that are like
something
technically
that, yeah.
hurricanes, but it's really not the same thing to speak of.
No, I think we get storms, and then we get some places have had tornadoes, but
and I feel like it's worse in like the Highlands, isn't it? Or I'm talking nonsense. It never used to be as felt as acutely. I mean, it barely even snowed where I grew up.
Yeah, well, it depends. I think neither of us live near where like the kind of types of hills and stuff you'd need for crazy weather.
Yeah, Jenny, that's a great suggestion. We should record audio theatre-based walking tours, little 30-minute walks that we could download and follow. Would be great as we enjoy history and facts in the challenge bits. I mean, that's so for those of you who may not know, I just posted a new YouTube video this evening that was a musical theatre challenge. We did a scavenger hunt with 37 different tasks in the West End. Myself, Aaron, and our friend Ellie, who is also a theatre content creator. And what's fun about those is it's us running around trying to do all these tasks and putting in silly tasks that are fun, but they're also many of them meant to be informative as well. So one of them was like, show how easy it is to get from the Charing Cross station to the Charing Cross Theatre, because not many people necessarily know where that theatre is or the shortcut to get there.
Or like theatres that used to have a different name, or whether
history things, theatres that are named after people, like who was this person? And so, that's definitely something we've been trying to do with it, and I'm glad that you've been enjoying that. But that's also a great idea. I will have a think about that.
I think I'm sure it's Steph. I think Steph just said about like you should do a podcast, or that we should do a podcast, and I thought that was a good segue both for you to say that your Mickey's reviews and any of his like big talky videos, like and interviews, etc., are on Spotify and are on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
So if you like to listen, like watch his reviews and stuff, but you find it difficult, like if you're like how you like to do it is just to listen to them, you can listen to them as an audio podcast as well.
Yeah. Cody Duffy, thank you so much for the super thanks. Catching you guys on the way to the Anne Juliet US tour. I hope you enjoy the Anne Juliet US tour.
Yeah.
That's a fun show. It's been too long since I've seen Anne Juliet.
Oh, I see where we're at. Because Sean just put Patty with maracas.
Don't even worry about it. I'm going to burn through more of these comments. It's all good. There's a Canadian series called Slings and Arrows, says Christopher. A love letter to theatre, hysterical and moving. It's 3 seasons. Definitely seek it out. There you go. How can we watch it in the UK? We'll look into it. Will The Notebook be coming to the West End? I
don't know anymore.
I don't know, because I was really gung-ho in telling you all it's going to the Shaftesbury. We are live on YouTube too, yes.
Yes, but your platform.
I was very bold in telling you all it was definitely coming to the Shaftesbury because I thought that's what Jamie Wilson had planned. But Jamie Wilson has since taken much pleasure in telling me that is wrong. It could be a double bluff.
Who knows?
I don't put it past the man, but I think it'll still come over here. But
there might be more time taken.
I don't know. So if you have the chance to see it on Broadway, don't delay. Brit's going over to Broadway in the next few months. I would encourage you to see The Notebook there.
Good morning, Ellen.
Good morning. Good morning in Australia. Do you think What's New Pussycat will ever make a return? Never say never. I'm always thinking about the City of Angels transfer from the Donmar warehouse that popped up in the West End like 6 years after its limited run there. So I hope so, because I heard great things about it. Aaron, did you colour your hair? No, he didn't. I did.
Yeah, Mickey coloured it. I mean, it's been coloured for a while. This is like the second colour.
It's a
top up of it. But yeah, I have a weird. It's flicky at the back. But yes.
I love your hair that colour. I think it looks so good.
It's copper.
Yes, Cody, I hope you enjoy Anne Juliet. What do you guys think about the Seagull casting? It's exciting.
The Barbican is a choice.
I love Tanya Reynolds. I think Tanya Reynolds as Masha. I think she was Masha. Makes a lot of sense. And I've only seen the Seagull once, but it's I know who Tanya Reynolds is playing, but I may just be getting the name wrong. But Emma Corrin and Cate Blanchett is going to be powerful, I think. I wonder what the future of Stereophonic will be with the legal challenges it is facing at the moment. Yeah, that is definitely a factor, and I don't know enough about the law to wade in.
Christopher, we have no future. Well, we really hope at some point we'll come to Australia, but we don't know when.
I'm
There's no updates.
hoping and manifesting Australia 2025. There's too much exciting Australian theatre for us to keep missing it. I am determined. I don't know how it's going to happen, but we're making it happen. Rob, you would love to see a big-scale production of Rebecca. Do you think it will ever tour again?
In Europe, yes.
In Europe, yes. Stuff resurfaces and comes back in Europe all the time. In the UK, I don't know.
Yeah, like it wouldn't shock me if the Hunchback production comes back in Europe again.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll get to see it, because I really want to see Hunchback.
Mary Pamela Perez says, hi, Aaron, James, and MickeyJoTheatre. Do you think that you will ever visit Boston or Provincetown, Massachusetts? The touring production of Shucked is coming to Boston in April 2025. I would love to visit both of those places. I would love to go to Boston. I would love to go to Provincetown. That's a real pilgrimage I would love to make. And we want to explore more states in America. We want to slowly start crossing them off and see theatre in a bunch of different places. And we need to see the Shucked tour.
Yes.
If for no other reason than exciting casting, like Tyler Joseph Ellis as one of the storytellers is going to be so really brilliant. Cool. And I miss Shucked.
I miss it too. We both fell in love with that show.
Yeah. Glenn, you go to Broadway a lot, but you're jealous that we see more than you when you're a native New Yorker. We're very lucky and we're very intrepid, and we dedicate all of our time and energy to making sure we get to see everything these days.
We haven't ever seen a show in Poland.
No, but I got a press release about one.
Oh, wow.
From a New York-based publicity company the other day, and I was like, intriguing. But yes, would also love. So I want to go to Krakow in Poland. Krakow in Poland.
I believe so.
Yes, that's one of my sister's favorite places in Europe, and she's done a lot of Europe. So I would like to go there.
No, we haven't seen the tour set for Shucked.
I haven't at
least.
I saw a picture of it doing a get-in, but I didn't pay enough attention. But yes, I think the original set could have worked quite neatly at Regent's Park with just a little bit of modification. Is Hadestown worth seeing if you don't know the historical context before? Yes, even more so. But you've got to pay real good attention to the lyrics, or do you know what? Familiarize yourself with the story of Hades and Persephone. Not Orpheus and Eurydice, which is the basis of the show, but it almost assumes that you have a little bit of knowledge of Hades and Persephone. Or it tells you, but it tells you in a very metaphorical way. So that might be advantageous.
I think sometimes if you don't know the context, it helps in making the end, making some of the surprises in it not feel spoiled.
Yeah. Will says, just wondering what's the most excited you've been for a rumor that didn't come through? Oh, that's a good question, because there have been some.
Well, it's tricky though, because sometimes then I find out the context of why, and then I just get sad.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's more that, like, I don't know.
Billie Piper in Cabaret.
Yeah, that was a rumor that everybody got like, ooh.
Well, I think it was wheels were in motion, but she
said no.
She said no because she's got kids, and it's a hell of a role. It's a hell of I think she went and saw the show and looked at it and was like, that's a lot. That's like me occasionally walking up to roller coasters and saying, I don't actually want to do that. If you just put me in the queue, I'd have a nice time. She would be great in the show, but I respect her seeing the roller coaster that flips her around on her head and saying, I don't want to do that. Hope the new Australian version of Sunset Boulevard tours the UK, got fab monochrome sets, real old Hollywood. And yet, it depends what you want from your Sunset Boulevard. Some people really want that classic look. There was not too long ago a lovely classic a Sunset Boulevard tour in the UK led by Rhea Jones and Danny Mac from the Leicester Curve, if you saw that version. I keep saying Sunset Boulevard is not a musical about stairs.
Could you imagine the chaos of them trying to tour the Jamie Lloyd version around the UK and being like, how quickly can they figure out how to do the route to the stage?
Yes. Yes, hopefully seeing Edith. I think they just do it in the theatre zone spaces would be the smart thing. Just like be in the bar
That could be more chaotic.
in the dress
They're not
circle.
doing the stage door to get in through the entrance because they have very different levels. Each theatre, like some of them, is a lot more stairs.
I think if you just like start in the bar and then hang out there, walk all around the bar, and then just go downstairs and then come in through the stalls. I can't think of any theatre where that would be a challenge. And in fact, that would be very cute. Someone asked if I was seeing Oedipus because they'd helped put together the set, and it was an odd one. I'm so intrigued. And yes, I'm planning to because I want to be able to compare the two different Oedipus days. Saw Becoming Nancy in previews at the Birmingham Rep this weekend. Might just be the best new musical going. Please see it if you get a chance. Hopefully West End Bound. We are seeing it. That's the good news.
Really excited.
The subway is a lot better than you think. It's 24 hours. We've ridden the subway a whole lot.
Yeah. The 24 hours is very handy compared
I like
to
the
West
subway.
End.
I'm not anti-subway, but it has its scary moments. Any hour of the day, it has its scary moments on the subway. More so than on the London Underground. The London Underground is almost always busier, and just full of like a lot of passive-aggressive pushing people. The New York subway can have intimidating moments, and I say that as someone who is not like a young woman or like someone who is in any other way more vulnerable. I stopped someone's dog running away on the subway once because they'd fallen asleep. That was traumatizing. Have you watched Heartstopper season 3? If you have watched it, I'm sending you virtual hugs. They are very much appreciated. Thank you. We have.
Yeah.
Jacob just saw Sunset Boulevard last Tuesday. It was amazing. Nicole is a superstar. There were 2 standing up moments in the middle of the show. All true.
Yeah.
All true. I'm so glad that it's getting this reaction, that it's getting this buzz. I maintain it's going to get reviewed well. It's going to be a hot ticket. It's going to be this zeitgeisty thing, just like it was in London. Get tickets now. They're going to get harder to get, I'm telling you.
Heartstopper was emotion. To be asking how we felt about it, it was very emotional. I'd already read the books, so I was prepared.
Yeah. Dark Man 2, I have a VIP meet and greet ticket for your next live show, and I was wondering if I need to arrive any earlier than the 7 p.m. door open time for the meet and greet. Nope. So if you come along at 7 p.m., then you'll get the full half hour of that. But that's when we start. So just between 7 and 7:30 is when we do the little meet and greet chat down at the front. Red Devil, if you are coming to the live show, we will see you there. And Philip, we are trying to see Drag the Musical at New World Stages.
Mm-hmm.
The counter at Roundabout, I've not heard anything about. I'm going to look that up after we finish this live stream.
Oh, Julie Hearts, thank you so much.
Glenn, when you visit New York, you should look into going to Broadway Sessions. The host, Ben Cameron. Oh, we love Ben Cameron. Ben Cameron's great. Ben Cameron was hosting the Green Alliance Day from the original cast of Wicked, right? I think that's Ben Cameron. Yeah. Gets cast members to perform acts after coming directly from their theatres. That sounds fun.
That's very cool.
Michael A says, my husband is currently in NYC seeing Titanic for the 11th time, and I cannot blame him one bit. You would go see Titanic every time.
Oh, so many times, because it's so different, because of the improv moment.
Yeah. We also watched Unbound at the Birmingham Hippodrome. Wasn't it fun? You guys ever revisited the old BBC casting shows?
We've watched some of the episodes.
We rewatched some of the first couple ones, yeah. Glad you loved Big Gay Jamboree. Varen Yvonne says, I was at the first preview of Sunset, haven't been as flawed by a production in years. I agree.
Matt asked if we've got a shopping list for Wicked merch for Sean when he goes to New York. No.
We're there not too long after him.
We're going to be over there not that long after.
He's not taking a big enough suitcase for everything.
Yeah.
Someone says, I'm going to the Wicked premiere through Connections. I literally can't wait.
That's so
thrilled
cool.
for you. Are you going to wear pink or green? Or both?
Oh
my God. Hey, Dan John.
Hi.
Eva just got tickets for Edward II, so now have a tragedy-related 2-show day in March with me also seeing Hamlet. Edward II, where is Edward? It's Stratford, isn't it? Edward II? Am I getting completely confused?
You are. Jonathan Bailey.
No, that's Richard II.
No, that is Richard II.
Unless that's what Eva means. Edward is that not the one that Daniel Evans is doing?
Oh, yes,
the
maybe, yes. Yes. No, it is.
Have you done a Come From Way review, the current one? Do you know, I don't think I have really. It's one of those things where, like, it was like Hamilton. It took me a while because I'm like, what else is there to say? And sharper minds than I have already talked about it and reviewed it.
Because you did the vlog.
Yeah, I guess I've covered Come From Away, but I haven't reviewed the original production specifically. But I will say of the UK tour, I don't miss the Revolve. I love the cast, and I don't miss the Revolve. And that tells you everything I think you need to know. How far back are we in these comments? Ooh, a little bit.
Yeah, some people have moved to TikTok.
I like to give full answers.
I know, but I love you, but we don't want them to have left before we get to their answer.
Oh, I really thought.
Yeah, no.
Oh, no.
No. Still go. Let's tell them that.
That's where we got to. Okay. Why don't you like the Les Mis Revolve? I wasn't talking about Les Mis, I was talking about Come From Away. I love the Les Mis Revolve. I miss the Les Mis Revolve.
Miss it.
Come From Away, I don't miss the Revolve. Les Mis, I miss the Revolve. Ellen, I see you. I see you. I won't apologize for answering meaningfully.
I've been to the Edinburgh Playhouse, Mickey hasn't.
I haven't.
Right. Back on this one. Yeah.
Well, I need the bathroom, so I'm going to go.
I'm going to go through quite a few then.
No.
Yeah, because it's going to get so much further behind.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'll do it when I return. Don't go through them.
Okay, let's go through them really quickly. Erin is in control of both live streams. Yay! Normally it's me that leaves and comes back, so this is fun. Right. We haven't listened to any of the Magic of the Musicals yet. Is it still online in any way? Because I know that it was played when we were at the stage debut awards. We couldn't watch it when it was happening. Helen about sassiness. I am going to try and get through some of this just so that we can go backwards on things, but just to make sure people have had their stuff answered. Get tickets in advance for the shows you definitely want to see in advance. That's my advice for West End and Broadway. If you definitely must see it. But if you're open to seeing stuff or have a range of stuff, then look at rush tickets when you're there and fill in those gaps. Is my thing. Make sure you've got like the show that you would be so upset if you didn't get to see in advance. Ones that you're like in between about, rush ticket them. And just kind of, because then you'll be getting cheaper seats. And if you're not completely sure if you really want to see it, that's the best way to do things. Do you plan to watch the Palladium Panto? Yes, if we got time to see the Palladium Panto, because Marisha Wallace in a panto is going to be a lot of fun as the villain. I haven't got that far in advance, but also I'm spinning you up.
Okay.
Who do you think will be Beetlejuice and Beetlejuice Musical Australia? Supposedly they've got a competition at the minute for people to guess who it is.
Oh.
So
I don't know, because I don't know enough Australian musical
theatre stars. I was about to say, if it's an Australian musical theatre star, we might not know.
I'm sure there's probably a contingent who they want Alex Brightman to do it. Alex Brightman, I believe, does not like to fly. So that will make that challenging.
Steph, I'm definitely not trying to plan to visit the pigeon from the Rush line again.
We were just talking the other day about the pigeon.
Yeah, I
from
did
the
not
Rush
enjoy
line.
that at all.
This, if you don't know, is from one of our old New York vlogs. We were in the Rush line for Sweeney Todd and a pigeon landed on Erin's hat.
Yeah, and it took ages for it to move.
It
was
did.
Not fun.
They're bolder, the New York pigeons, the Manhattan pigeons, if you will. Do you think the love of film Blood Brothers would be amazing to film? Do you mean like a feature film or like pro-shotting?
I could see a feature film before I could see them pro-shotting that production.
I always wanted them to do a feature film with Sarah Lancashire, and possibly now with Sheridan Smith. Either of those would be lovely. Are you going to review Sunset Boulevard on Broadway? Please do. Here's the thing. It's so many of the same cast members in the same production. I don't know how much would be different. Would we be interested for me to like go and see Mandy Gonzalez doing it and talking about that? Now they're not necessarily having her reviewed officially, but something more vlog style. I don't know. What coverage would you like to see me do of Sunset Boulevard in New York? Did you see Titanic during your big trip to NYC? The first time we went, yes. I've seen it once. Erin's seen it twice.
Yeah.
Do you know what shows you'll see in November? Some of them, yes. Some of them still falling into place, but we have a wish list. Will you be seeing the Ragtime at City Centre? Yes.
Yeah.
Unmissable, and the reason for our trip. We'd be going later otherwise to see Gypsy. Talking about Soho Place, what do you think about the Kyoto transfer and it playing to all 4 sides instead of just the 3 like in Stratford? Didn't see it in Stratford, know very little about it, but hugely excited for it, having heard good things, basically. Person in the blue hat, oh, this is about the sunset palaver. Person in the blue hat is the median Times Square pedestrian. I don't know how you can do this every day. Check out today's one when it went absolutely fine. Check out the day before when it also gone absolutely fine. Ordinarily, they have enough people around them that it's okay. I think the issue is not Tom Francis getting through the crowds and the camera person. They can do that quite well. The issue is everyone else who was with them, the ensemble who are there as for padding, the other security people, the stage management, whoever, getting separated from them by the crowds. I think that was the bigger problem. But I've not analysed the footage. That's anecdotally, it seemed to be that was what that was. Is there a show one of you introduced the other 2 that you now both love? Yes.
Mary Poppins.
Aaron got me to go to Mary Poppins because for whatever reason I was resistant to it. And now I love it so much. Guys and Dolls moved more people than Sunset NYC. Indeed it did. I'm also seeing White Rabbit, Red Rabbit on Wednesday with Kate Fleetwood. Ooh, compelling performer. Which I'm excited about as it's my first time going to Soho Place and my 3rd time seeing Kate Fleetwood in something.
Oh, fun.
What were the others?
Yeah.
Was one of them 101 Dalmatians? Was one of them King Lear? Was one of them Macbeth? I'm just guessing things Kate Fleetwood has done. My question with White Rabbit, Red Rabbit is some of the people who are doing it are very much comedic actors, and some are really, that's not what they're most known for. Some of them are very like intense dramatic performers.
I feel like it's a mix though of people that are able to, used to kind of doing stand-up, etc., where they're able to deal with things if they go wrong very quickly and work with an audience on their own and not have that fear as much. And then the other side is people that have done a lot of readings, a lot of workshops, and a lot of stuff in are of that form. So I feel like they've gone for people that are on either side or music performers, because of like people that are used to that kind of stress that they'll be okay going through it on a blank read.
Yeah. Is Sunset Boulevard an open-ended run on Broadway?
I think technically yes, but
they want it to run through the Tonys.
Yeah,
It's
I think
gonna run
currently
through the Tonys.
technically yes, but we'll find out closer to the Tony time.
I think it's like a Merrily situation where it probably will then conclude a little after that. Unless they can come up with a big name that works as a replacement. But
I think that's the thing. I think it's a case of they won't know yet whether they could run post Nicole or not.
Yeah. What do you think is next for Regent's Park? What musicals do you think will be there next summer? By the way, you cannot say Shucked since that is rumoured. It's not just, it's happening. Shucked is happening. And so I will say Shucked. I think we're going to get one other musical, and
Drew McConey will choreograph it.
Drew McConey will choreograph.
Because it's his first season. He'll want to
choreograph and direct.
Make his stamp with that one.
On which basis, something with balletic choreography, something classic, I imagine. Dark Man, you booked to get a photo with Andre de Shields. I forgot Andre de Shields is coming to Musical Con. And a photo with Amy Atkinson. Enjoy. Have a lovely time meeting icons, the both. Shane, you're seeing Tammy Faye's first preview on Broadway on the 19th. Are you two seeing it on this trip? Yes. Yes, we are. I think
it'll be our first time ever going to the Palace.
It will. It will be our first time going to the Palace. I'm very excited to see Katie Rabin give that performance again, but also to see Christian and Michael Cerveris. First time seeing Michael Cerveris on stage. Very excited. Lisa, I'm not sure what the theatre on East 23rd Street is. Does it have a name? Can't wait for Oliver to come back to the West End. Saw it back in 2010 with Carrie Ellis and Griff Rhys-Jones. Do you know neither of us have ever seen Oliver
professionally
on stage?
Yeah.
And we were saying there's so many shows at the moment that are Oliver or riff on Oliver.
Yeah, because Why Am I So Single and Becoming Nancy both do.
Yeah. What do we think of the anniversary playbills in New York?
They're really cool.
Love them.
There are some that obviously aren't like leaning in as much, but then I'm not surprised by most of those shows because either they're limited runs, so it's like, or they've only just started getting people used to it, or there's just iconic.
I don't mind for the ones that just started because they're just trying to get their image out there. Our town had a boring playbill to begin with, and now they have 4 different boring playbills. Sunset Boulevard annoyed me because I'm like, Jamie Lloyd, I get it with the minimalism, but also you could have had like such striking, great. You could have had like a Joe and Betty, like Black and White. You have so many beautiful mise-en-scène moments in your staging, in your camera work. Put some of them on the playbill.
Yeah,
there are so many beautiful shots from that production. And the other one that annoyed me.
You
the Lion King.
Disney ones.
The Lion King. You have beautiful puppetry on that stage, and you're just using that same art. You could have had like the lionesses and like the lovely, like the jumps. There's so many beautiful production shots that have come out of that show. And Chicago's is such a brilliant example of like paying tribute to all the history of the show. Chicago's are some of my favorites because Charlotte D'Amboise is on one of them, and BB and Anne Ranking, and like pay tribute to it's as Playbill is paying tribute to their history. You have 10,000 likes on your TikTok live. That's amazing.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, as Playbill is paying tribute to their history, pay tribute to the history of your show as well.
And thank you to everybody that's joined my team. I'm still learning what joining my team is, but thank you so much.
Daniel is heading down to London to see Devil Wears Prada in December. What other shows do we think are worth checking out this Christmas, if Daniel is still here? You know, my brain hasn't gotten as far as Christmas yet.
If there's return seats for Great Comet, you'll probably know close to the time.
Natasha Pierre and Great Comet of 1812, yes.
The new joining cast of Hadestown looks very fun.
It does. It does.
Why am I so single?
Why am I so single? Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Titanic,
Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Yeah, Benjamin Button. Supposedly the Midsummer Night's Dream at the Barbican will be very good. I only heard really good things about it at the RSC.
Yes.
That'll be your last chances to see
important
Guys and Dolls as well.
Guys and Dolls, importance of being earnest at the National. Coming to London this weekend and still undecided which shows to see. What are your recommendations? I've seen most of the long-running ones. Theatre Izzy, if you haven't seen Why Am I So Single yet, I would go see Why Am I So Single. We're in such an in-between time at the moment with some stuff that's just closed and some stuff that hasn't opened yet. But that's the one that's jumping out to me. What do you think will be the next big Shakespeare to be staged in this country? There's Shakespeare all the time. There's Shakespeare all the time.
They all rotate very quickly.
Yeah.
I'd say just expect any of the comedies and any of the tragedies to appear very quickly again. Joe
says, don't think I want a sexy Oedipus, to be honest. That's where you and I differ, Joe.
Let's move on quickly.
Can we talk about the Mark Strong and Michael Gold A View from the Bridge reunion in the West End production of Oedipus, because that excited me? Yes, that production of A View from the Bridge was extraordinary. So that is very exciting. Is Stereophonic still the show of the year? Good question. I think it might be, you know. I think it still might be holding on there. I'm waiting for the day there is a Heartstopper musical.
I was talking about this with Sean earlier because I said I'm so like in between of whether it would work or not. But when watching it, it reminds me how theatrical it is. Like how it has the poignant moments that would work on stage. That I said the reason why I think sometimes it feels like it wouldn't work is only because we don't get to see many musicals that are like rom-com-y type of musicals that have gay leads. And there's a lot of ways it reminds me a lot of Babies as a musical and how that kind of works. So I think it could work. I just I don't know how where you would decide to start and end a Heartstopper musical.
Yeah.
When there's so much material.
What is a show you feel like would benefit from being a straight play instead of being a musical? Oh, there was something the other day. Oh, no, I can't say that. I don't know the last time I thought like... I wonder if Water for Elephants needs to be a musical. I wonder if Back to the Future needs to be... Back to the Future is probably my answer.
I think for me, I just remembered how I felt about watching Girl from the North Country and being like, I don't understand this being a musical because
That's
it's
two
not.
different things being brought together completely.
I know, it just reminded me of it straight away.
Yeah. Oh, Lucy says Time Traveler's Wife. You didn't like the music for Time Traveler's Wife? Rip me apart through the dark.
Well, I felt like with that, some of the music was in a weird position. Like Journeyman's such a good song, but it was in a very odd place.
Yeah, I liked the music. I just thought it wasn't utilized well. Do you think Your Lie in April will get a cast recording even though it closed early? I hope so, because I loved some of those songs.
That's another topic me and Sean were talking about. And it was interesting.
Okay, fine. Maybe it is. I haven't been told this. Do we know if the seagull... okay, I'm going to quickly answer this because this was a response to musicals that should be plays. Dirty Dancing technically is a play. Dirty Dancing does not consider itself a musical, really.
It doesn't. It's
show with music.
They sit very in the middle of the world where it's like they try and not acknowledge it as a play or a musical, just as this entity in between, which is basically a retelling of the movie.
Yeah.
A restaging of a movie, aka all the iconic songs are in there, but the only character that sings is the sister because she's doing the song that she sings in the film.
Yeah. And Spamalot, how dare you? I love the songs from Spamalot. The song that goes like this. Diva's Lament. Come on now. Find your grail.
Well, basically, just when the diva sings.
Do we know if The Seagull is the production from Germany just translated into English like Enemy of the People? As it keeps saying a new production on the marketing, or is it because it's new to the UK? I don't know, because they lie. This is the thing, is they would still say that even if it wasn't. So I think it's going to be a wait until it begins previews and then we'll find out.
Hi, Elliot. Oh, most anticipated 2025 opening.
Hercules, maybe?
Probably. I think we followed that show's journey for like so long that I'm so intrigued.
Yeah.
How it's going to be within like the new version, but in English, not in German.
Yeah. Someone said same with Footloose. What the same with Footloose is a musical. Footloose is a little different.
Footloose is a full musical.
Unless you're applying to something else that I said. Forgot to say, I listened to the AIDA cast recording and found it astonishing it has not had a UK mount even in the form of a concept.
Disney owned the full rights to AIDA and are very, very, very protective over it. So it would only happen if Disney did it, because especially because it's not been in the UK ever for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, there was the recent Dutch production where they were trying to make an AIDA for today and stage it, and it didn't go so well. So I think
it's nigh on impossible to cast these days, but I love the score, and I wish there was a pro shot of that original production with Heather and Adam and Sherry Renee Scott. With The Devil Wears Prada, what will be the next film to be turned into a musical? I mean, we're already getting Clueless, 13 Going on 30 is being workshopped.
We had a film one where Lucy also said, how do you feel about Devil Wears Prada? I adore Vanessa's casting. I hope it lives up. So we had 2 Prada questions.
I do as well. I'm very excited to see Vanessa Williams on stage. I think that's genius casting for a number of reasons.
I think for another film going to a musical,
17 again is being worked on.
It wouldn't show me if Miss Congeniality has been looked at least.
It must have been, because that's always my answer for the one I'd like to see, because I'm...
It's so theatrical.
Big fan.
Same as The Proposal. Basically, Sandra Bullock movies feel very inherently theatrical. And that's weird, because has she been on Broadway?
Yeah. Could we see Shakespeare in Love come back to London or tour? It didn't make much of an impact, did it?
It did do a tour after when it was in the West End.
Yeah, it did a little... do we think Suffs will come to the West End? It's tricky because...
It depends on what Sylvia wants to do.
I don't even think it does. I don't know how you would market Suffs in the West End, because people would go expecting... Because Suffs isn't inherently American.
Yeah.
It would sound like the British suffrage story. And then you go and it's the same story in a different place with a bunch of different characters. The names...
People would expect
it's not Emmeline Pankhurst. It's not Sylvia Pankhurst.
And I feel like people would watch it and go, well, why aren't there isn't the British movement covered, or why wouldn't it be? People might say, why is there not one on the British side? And there is, and it's Sylvia. So.
Yeah. Oh, Beth, this is interesting. Just watched your Operation Mincemeat video, and did you know that you can go at 9:15 on the 31st of December and it will end at midnight? What's your thoughts about that? Do you think other shows should do? It's a challenge for anyone who doesn't live in London, who is trying to get public transport afterwards, especially at the New Year moment. So it seems a very London-centric thing to do, but it's not a very big theatre, so that's fine. I think for a lot of other shows who rely heavily on, like so many audience members after West End shows go out onto public transport and leave London.
And also, I feel like it feels a bit weird as well, like, because you're asking then performers to spend their New Year's, and performers don't get many days off in the year at all.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
Like, I think performers, especially in the UK, like they get their holiday weeks, but it's not like, especially with like holiday seasons, performers rarely get to spend those big moments of the year with their family. So like, and the idea of them traveling back after it for work is a lot.
Yeah. Not all performers live in central London either. I think it's a nice idea, but it would create a lot of logistics. Sorry, that's a very boring logistical answer to that fun question. Dan John says, where do you think Burlesque is going to go? I thought it would be in the Shaftesbury. The Shaftesbury is booked up until February 2026, and Burlesque seems like they're gearing up to announce something considerably sooner than that. Think next summer.
Oh, sorry, Veronica.
Sorry you missed us, Veronica. Have you seen my Seasons of Jet Lag, the game? You might get some ideas for more games around London. Highly recommend. We'll take a look.
Yeah.
Do you ever worry what West End you miss while in New York? Constantly trying to balance the two.
We're further now.
Oh, good. I'm doing well.
We're here.
Inevitably, we can't see everything, and there's never a good time. There's better times and worse times to fly away from the West End for a couple of weeks. But we always miss something. We missed Winnie the Pooh the first time. We missed Two Strangers back in April. That was sad.
We're going to miss Benjamin Button.
I think the official press night of Benjamin Button, so we'll try and see that after we get back.
Yeah.
Mickey, I'm headed to NYC in November, and I'm seeing Cabaret and Romeo and Juliet. I've got one more space. Should I see Gypsy or Sunset Boulevard? Oh.
Did you get to see? Did you see Sunset when it was in the West End?
I swear by Sunset. I think with that combination of shows, I'd see Gypsy, because I think it's going to give you
something very different.
Well, it depends. The material of Sunset is going to give you something different to Cabaret and Romeo and Juliet, but the vibes of Gypsy and what I imagine we don't know what the production will be, but what I imagine the production will give you something a little bit different, because with Cabaret and Sunset, you'd be seeing two very bold, stark, slightly bleak reconfigurations, revivals of shows. Musique Soul said, saw Why Am I So Single? And I was lucky enough to meet Marlowe and Moss. I thought it was brilliant, very funny and great tunes. Why do you think it's not selling that well? It's hard to market. It doesn't have big names. It's not based on anything.
It's also difficult to know how well a show's selling in the UK, because we don't do the grosses like they do on Broadway. So like, even now I'm like, I don't know how well any show in the West End's doing, because you can't look at the seating plans, because seats are held off, seats are with different places. So it's just really difficult to even answer it, because we physically don't know how well a show's doing. You only really know when a show closes.
Yeah. Do you think the Curve should be producing shows like Kinky Boots? They are funded largely by Arts Council. Just feels a waste of resources when they should be pursuing new MT. Yes and no. I think Curve have to do stuff that's going to keep the Curve have to keep the lights on, and they have to keep the doors open, and doing stuff like Kinky Boots, doing revivals, doing titles people already know is a part of that. There was a workshop at Curve recently, which I assume they're also funding. So there's a lot of work and development that they will also be doing behind the scenes.
Also, Curve is a receiving house as well for a lot of the tours. And so them finding a way to produce tours that then go to different theatres then means that money from UK tours is going back into Leicester Curve, so then they can put that money into Newark, and like
Yeah.
there's a to and fro. I think like we don't have many. I mean, you think the Come From Away tour, those producers worked with the Curve to find a way to make that non-revolve production work. Like I think part of the Curve and what they are now is a place that allows new tools to be developed, and like I mean, become like Muriel's Wedding starting their run, and like things are happening, but I think the Curve has an interesting different type of role where it's bringing money into the economy.
Yeah, and hey, look at the National Theatre. They're Arts Council funded. They scarcely touch new musical theatre. New musical theatre is alien to that building. Thomas asked, wasn't Louise Redknapp in Cabaret? Yes, the UK tour production of the Rufus Norris, speaking of National Theatre, of the Rufus Norris directed version before this new revival.
Oh, just to go back onto the Kinky Boot thing, it's being co-produced with commercial producers as well, so not that much money. It's not so much money from the Curve that's going into it, it's actually the Curve offering their resources to commercial producers.
Yeah. Will you be seeing the Ghost Tour? Saw it last month and absolutely loved it more than I was expecting. I wasn't as sure, and then we went to see the Ghost concert and I was like, oh no, I do really like a lot of this material. And we love Josh Sinclair.
Yeah.
So I would like to. I'm sad I missed the chance to see it in my hometown in Bournemouth, but I haven't seen theatre there in years, in a very long time. Even when I was living there, not a lot of theatre at the Bournemouth Pavilion. So yes, we'll do our best if it comes to somewhere handy near us. Oh, if you come to Los Angeles, check out my school theatre, the Sorolla. Just saw Faust with
Reeve Carney
and Javier Munoz. Randy Newman was there. Leia Salonga and Stephen Schwartz will perform soon too. How exciting. Eva asks, are you seeing the European premiere of Matthew Lopez's Reverberation in Bristol? I'm going to try to, but the press night clashes with another press night. So I'm going to do my best. And yes, Edward II is in Stratford with Daniel Evans. And I want to see that as well. I really want to see that.
Do we have any thoughts on the amount of shows about writers trying to write a show? What was the question?
Shows about writers trying to write a show. There's two. So it's Why Am I So Single and Strange Loop. Are there more? Tell me.
Title of show, I guess.
Yeah, but that's not current.
Just not that many. When you compare how many things are based on Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah. And they do it in very different ways. I think we're seeing more and more writing that talks about identity. We're seeing more and more writing that is reflective of the self, that is to some extent semi-autobiographical. And some people take that more literally than others and use that as a great device. As long as they're all good shows, and I think they are both good shows, there's no problem. What's happening with Finding Neverland? Gary Barlow is personally walking around different theatres in London trying to find one that will put on Finding Neverland, and I'd heard he'd found one, but he wanted to put one. He went to a really big theatre where it's not going, and I don't have any other updates for you. I don't hear a lot of tea and gossip. Occasionally things come my way, but I'm not a gossip monger at the best of times. I never know how much to say and how much to not. Eva, this is the first time Daniel has done a show since the Sheffield production of Company, but it was not 2007. It was absolutely no, because I thought about going and I was not 12. It was after, I think it might have been 2012, 2013. It was after 2010. I can tell you that. But I think it was pre-2014. Yeah, so it was not 2007. He was doing Sunday in the Park with George after 2007. I was thinking of seeing Rachel Zegler, but this is so expensive. They have rush tickets if you're willing to queue on the street for hours beforehand, which is not as bad as it sounds, actually.
I forgot Miracle on 34th Street, the musical's happening at home.
We talked about going to see it.
I remember that, but I forgot since.
I would like to, yes. I would like to go see Miracle on 34th Street at home,
because
Manchester.
I don't think they did a proper announcement. It just appeared on their website.
Cast wish list for Encore's The Wild Party. Remind me which Wild Party this is.
Your vocals are insane. I just want to make sure you know this.
Oh, yes. Andrew, yes.
Like, I can't fathom it. It always blows me away. When we saw it in
The mind is
Fringe,
blown.
and then
The mind is blown.
so that was a very quick reaction. But I need to make sure you heard that.
Waiting on the other side.
Like,
yeah.
My jaw always drops.
There you go.
When those high notes come out, I'm always like,
there you go. Applause needed to be given.
Oh, Wild Rose is being turned into a musical, and Dawn Seabright doing it.
Dawn Seabright.
I love Dawn Seabright. Anything she does, golden.
Yeah.
I've seen her in Our Ladies of Perpetual Succor, in Pinocchio, which was fascinating because she was Lampwick.
Oh.
With Audrey Brisson as Jiminy Cricket.
I saw that.
That cast insane.
Yeah.
And then we saw her in
No Love Songs.
No Love Songs.
She was amazing.
And heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Oh, such a good actress.
Went to see, I never know how to pronounce this man's name, but he's the magician. Asai Wind? Asi, at the Underbelly Soho. He left the stage without doing the finale as the audience member he hyperfixated on didn't want to comply. That sounds a little awkward. Fun fact about me, and this is slightly embarrassing, I have an irrational fear of magicians. I can do circus, but like specifically mentalist kind of magicians. Darren Brown scares the bejesus out of me. I've met him. He was a lovely man, incredibly nice. Terrifies me in a onstage context. So I have been invited now on both sides of the Atlantic to see Asai Wind's show and to go to various interview opportunities and press events to meet him and have him do close-up magic in front of me. And I'm like, you're describing a horror story to me right now. That's the scariest thing. I just have, like, how a lot of people feel about clowns. I feel that way about mentalists and magicians. Are you planning to see Romeo and Juliet? Also, do you have any recommendations for someone visiting NYC for the first time in November for a stagey trip? Any unmissable shows, Once Upon a Mattress, etc.? I've just made a video that specifically will help you on this because it's on YouTube. It's shows to see this fall in New York over the next 3 months. And there's like 25 recommendations. But also, if it's your first trip to NYC, go eat at Gale's Broadway Rose at the Friedman Theatre. They have singing waiters. The food is great, and so is the talent. Go to Schmackery's. Go to Theatre Circle. Go to One Schubert Alley. These are stores with Broadway merchandise. Even if you don't buy anything, the vibes are good. Go hang out in Schubert Alley. Try not to get tackled by security guards from Sunset Boulevard.
The Museum of Broadway is really...
Oh, love the Museum of Broadway.
Even if you just go to the gift shop.
Yeah. And if you want to know more about the Museum of Broadway, I've done a walkthrough guide of it on YouTube as well.
Come Alive is not a musical based on The Greatest Showman. Come Alive is like a circus show that includes the music of The Greatest Showman and a completely different story.
It lives in the same world.
But a Greatest Showman musical has been announced by Disney, and they are developing that. So that's The Greatest Showman musical is a completely different thing.
Jonathan, Lion King should have given us grass. Lion King should have given us something.
And I did notice something that's very interesting as an update of The Greatest Showman, is that Disney on Stage, the UK website, has now added The Greatest Showman to their website of upcoming shows. So the UK seem to be getting it next because it's on their website.
I think we've kind of gathered at this point The Greatest Showman is happening in the UK before it happens on Broadway. And if you hadn't gathered that, you're gathering it right now.
Yeah.
Ever been to Disney World, Florida?
I have.
I haven't, but I'm desperate to. That's kind of our dream honeymoon. Yeah. Because you'd need the full 2 weeks.
And I haven't been,
I think,
as an adult. I was a teenager when I went there. So.
I've been told you need the full 2 weeks. That's not me saying that.
You need 2 weeks.
A position of immense financial privilege.
You do to fully experience it. You need 2 days in each place.
Have you done all 40 West End theatres? Yes, we were just talking about this. The last one for me was the Aldwych when I saw Tina a few years ago.
I think mine was either His Majesty's or the Novello, and I think it was the Novello for Mamma Mia. I think was the last one.
Yeah. Why is Natasha, Pierre, and the Great Comet in such a small venue? Do you think it'll ever have a place in the West End? Depends how it does in that small venue. Next to Normal opened there similarly as kind of a niche show only known by theatre people and was then successful enough to transfer to the Wyndhams. Hopefully the same thing can happen with Natasha, Pierre, and the Great Comet of 1812. It's in a small venue because that venue and that artistic director chose to program it. No commercial producers were interested in bringing it to the West End at any point since.
They got the rights to it. It's not the same production that was in America.
Yeah. David Tennant's Macbeth, any tips to having cheaper tickets for this production? I'm sure they're doing something like a lottery or a day tickets or something. Have a look on their website. I dare say there's some sort of scheme. I don't have any particular tips or tricks. Have you heard the Cynthia Defying Gravity flying section making the rounds on Twitter now? I sort of don't want that many spoilers. So I'll probably avoid that. Like, I got very excited when the first set leak audios were coming out, but now I'm like, I want
interesting.
Fresh ears.
Alice says, please do a dishwasher-proof mug. I'll have to look at the merch.
Oh, on the merch. Oh, yes.
I'll see if there's an option on there.
Looking into it.
If that one's not. I can't remember if that one is or not. There's the ones that are already on there, but I will have a look to see. If not, if we can add one.
Jacob Hello in Salt Lake City. Did you see Shucked before it went to Broadway? That was in Salt Lake City. I think it was in Utah. Do you know any of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? Or do you know anyone who knows them? I'm obsessed. We haven't started watching The Real Lives of Mormon Wives.
No.
But I want to.
And I know that they've had a second season greenlit.
It's going to grab me and hold on to me, that much I know. There was an interesting question Juan asked about the producers. And I'd forgotten about this. But in terms of shows to recommend for people to see at Christmas, yes, very excited about the producers. I think the casting is great.
I'm very intrigued with how the artwork and the style that they're going for, what that means.
I hope it's a bit different.
It feels a bit different.
I hope it's interesting. And I was nearly brought to tears when we found out Joanna Woodward was doing it.
I'm so happy for her because, with the Time Traveler's Wife, it felt like she was being welcomed as a new West End lead.
That was a big career opportunity for her.
Yeah, going from kind of a cover to being a lead.
Sadly, the show was short-lived, but she was great in it.
Yeah.
And also, we got to meet her at multiple press events, and she had a couple of comedy moments in that show, but she's so funny.
Yeah, she is hilarious.
As a person, her doing a comedy part, I was like, oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Lovely. Wonderful.
There was something I saw that I was intrigued about.
On that subject, Dalek Man said, who is a musical theatre star you would like to interview? I get intimidated, but the ones I really want to meet, I would get very intimidated by. If I got the chance to speak to Hannah Waddingham or Rebecca Traherne,
you'd probably cry.
Or Stuart Clark or John Owen Jones. That's a wish list, but it's also Louis, Hadestown is not closing, and I'm going to put you on notice. I do not want to see the negativity around speculating about closures and shows that are not selling well. I have seen you in these comments. Behave yourself. Yeah, those are my faves, but I don't know if it's that I want to interview them or that it would terrify me. It's all right, Louis. I forgive you. I'm behind, but yes, there will be a floodgate of Wicked merch. I had the opportunity to work on a merch collab with this movie, and I've been bursting at the seams for 8 months trying to keep it in. Oh, that's exciting. That's very exciting. Ellie is here. I don't know how long ago this was. Bonnie, was lovely to see you on October 3rd. I hope you enjoyed Mean Girls. Do you think Reefer Madness will come to London? Do you know, I wish it would. I think that production that's currently on the West Coast looks very fun. The Kristen Bell one. I'd love to see a bit of Reefer Madness. I know some of the music from it.
Oh, Secret Mind Twins just got back from a performance of Natasha Pierre. And our friend Kate Ranking was at a production of
Illinois.
Great Comet today as well. So were you at the same performance?
Secret Mind Twin, whereabouts was that? Was it regional in the US? Ellie's being sassy in the comments. I'm shocked. It sounds like they're a little far behind on the chat today. Haha, I'm catching up. Don't you worry about me.
When we will be at MusicalCon, I will be there both days. Mickey will be there for just the one, and Ellie will be there for both.
Yeah. Do you think Into the Woods will be back in London anytime soon? I wish. I would love that. It's my favorite musical of all time. But there's other Sondheims I think we're needing to see more badly, worser. We need a good night music revival. And if they were just to remount the Trevor Nunn production and let Waddingham do it again, I wouldn't mind about that.
But you're also excited about Roadshow.
I am excited about Roadshow. I feel like I'm one of the few people in the theatre world who has seen Roadshow before because I saw it at the Menier. So I'm going to, and we are going to go see this production at the Gatehouse.
Yes.
Upstairs at the Gatehouse are doing Sondheim's penultimate musical, I guess, Roadshow. So when I see that, I will have seen 2 different productions of Roadshow before ever having seen Sunday in the Park with George. How insane is that? How ridiculous is that?
Lucy, I think we could get Spring Awakening again because the concert did extremely well. So I don't think there's a lack of love. I think also we have the audience now that works for Spring Awakening that we didn't have when it originally opened.
Yeah.
I think a lot of teenagers would love it now. If the right cast member.
I think that Almeida Spring Awakening could still transfer like the Donmar City of Angels a few years down the line. I think that might just resurface. Vicious Ocean, I don't know the other Wild Party very well. I know the Lipper one. I don't know the other one. Who are your cast wishes? Dom97, you think the audience member gave the trick away. His show is very safe for work and family friendly, nothing shocking, much tamer than Darren Brown, so you'd certainly be fine. No, I'm sure it is. It's irrational. It's completely irrational. It's not that they do things that are actively, it's really just an irrational fear. It's not like how some people are scared of spiders. It's like how some people are scared of like sloths. It's irrational. Not to insult people who are scared of sloths. I have an irrational fear of magicians. That's not because they're scary. It just frightens me.
Lucy, I think Spring Awakening there would be great. It's the same as Rent. Rent now in London would do so much better than it originally did in the West End.
Adam Newman asked, is there anywhere in London to buy theatre merch?
I wish.
Sadly, not really.
I wish. You can get some merch from any National Theatre show, the National Theatre Bookshop.
National Theatre Bookshop has some like generic, like Shakespearean theatre-y things and play scripts. And there's also places to buy plays. Yeah. From the shows, not like there is in New York, sadly.
No. Hopefully one day they will. Hopefully they'll be tempted, but we haven't seen any move on that.
Yeah. I want to see Anastasia adapted to the stage, but with Rasputin included. He has one of the best villain songs in animation. He does. But I get why they also Mistress Circle. Yeah. I get why they didn't include him because they're going for something more based in the reality of that time period, even though the whole thing is rooted in legend anyway.
There's also the difficulty is the stage musical was done when Disney didn't own the film Anastasia.
Oh, really?
So it was, but 20th Century Fox did work on it with that whole thing. Like there was a division of the film and the film studio that worked on it. Now Disney owns the IP. I do wonder how that all affects their relationship with it and what Disney. I'm intrigued. Has there been any new productions that have actually started recently of that show, or are we seeing? I'm wondering if there might be Disney doing a process of a changeover since they've bought it. I don't know.
Thank you so much for your recommendations, tips, and for being so kind. Absolutely adore your work. Thank you. That's very lovely. Do we feel like we're getting Alex Newell for Shucked in the West End? Could the concert debut last month be testing the waters? Sadly, no, I don't think so. Alex, I don't think Alex wants to do Shucked. I don't think Alex wants to do 8 shows a week. I think that because Alex said they don't want to do 8 shows a week.
I think Alex would perform in London again.
Yeah, but I don't think Alex wants to do Shucked outdoors.
Yeah, I feel like Alex is probably having different conversations with with producers that are based here that maybe also work in New York. I don't know anything, but like we've also got to remember that like a lot of West End producers also work in New York and also like different shows and stuff. I feel like there's other things.
Yeah. Maybe very random, but I prefer the pacing of the Broadway. I assume that's Mean Girls, MG, rather than West End. Thoughts? Didn't see the Broadway one, so don't really know. Pacing-wise, from what I know of the differences in the material, I don't know that there's much difference. Tell me more. Expand.
I like that the West End production is a lot more even with the characters and like the plastics, like Karen now has a bit more evened with Gretchen, so it doesn't feel weighted in a way.
Do you know what tickles me?
What?
Because they cut Fearless. But my favorite part of Fearless was the dance break in the middle, where led by Gretchen, and clearly they loved it as well because they just put it into the end of Revenge Party that now ends the first act. They just used the dance break from Fearless. The thing I don't get about West End Mean Girls is some of the lyric changes, e.g., costume to suit. I'm trying to think of the exact one. Oh, no, they're both in the costume. They're both in the suit. I agree because I think costume is funnier. And they don't land it as...
That bit does not land.
It doesn't.
I feel like some people don't even realise what's going on.
And that was such a great joke in the Broadway version. But yes, no, I give you that one. You're absolutely right.
Lily May, I hope you had fun doing Bugsy Malone for your school show.
Yeah, that is... I don't know Bugsy Malone nearly as well as I should.
I've done Bugsy Malone.
Of course you have. Of course you have. Which theatre do you think has the most consistently exciting schedule? Oh, who is just on it with their programming?
Are we talking about like just a West End theatre, or are we talking about like one of the producing theatres? Because my brain thinks differently.
I think it's got to be a producing theatre because a West End theatre is just like an empty vessel that producers are throwing stuff in.
Oh, then I'd say Regent's Park, because every season, like, there's the added element of not just the added element of how's it going to be outside, but like they don't do new musicals. That's the only thing with them. But I think in terms of
they do, but
rarely.
They've started 2 more. They did 101 Dalmatians. They're taking Shucked, it seems.
Well, yeah, that's true. But I kind of think Regent's Park because they feel like they give a lot of musicals this burst, and even this burst of life and a burst of intrigue about it and people talking. Like Once in a Silent happening, I don't think anywhere else would have brought that musical to London.
No. Regent's Park, I love Regent's Park. It's one of my 3 favourite theatres in the entire world. One of my favourite places to be. I don't think I can give them this one for the most consistently exciting schedule because it's not like we feel like we need to see every single thing. We have in the past couple of years a 25 to 50% hit rate on going to see Regent's Park stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of a theatre that puts out so much exciting stuff that we're constantly going back. Where it's like, oh, we have to go there multiple times a year rather than just like, oh, that's a theatre we have to visit once a year because once a year they'll do something exciting.
But then I'm giggling because then I'm like, it's Encores.
It's Encores in New York, yes. Yeah. It's Chichester when we were close enough to go. We were going more, but I don't know. Of late, have I missed Chichester as much? Menier has been hit and miss, I'm sorry to say.
Donmar's been fun.
Donmar, I think, is about to get very fun with Timothy Sheeder as well.
Yeah.
Who was Regent's Park artistic director.
Yeah.
James, Regent's Park Spamalot would be a great idea. That is a great idea. I want them to do non-replica Miss Saigon and land a helicopter in the middle of the stage, and everyone always laughs at me when I say it. But I think, or fly a helicopter away from the stage, like he has to climb up the thing and then they fly away and Kim is just left there. Can you imagine? Yeah, Menier used to be really like hit to hit, and it's been a hot minute.
I'm surprised that the open air has not done Titanic, because they can have water tank on stage. That's
the other thing I wanted them to do is Little Mermaid.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, I've been there when they've had a full lake on that stage. I mean, even Chichester's had a full lake on stage before.
Yeah.
But they had set on top of it.
More lakes on stage.
But yeah, exactly. You could have the ship basically on the stage.
Yeah. That's a great question, though. Thank you for asking that question, Adam. Jacob says, I did see Shucked in Salt Lake. So much fun and happy to see it's gotten such a wide audience. And I sadly have not ever watched The Real Housewives. Not really my cup of tea. That's fine. I know it's not. I know it's not everybody's.
At least still here, but I don't know.
My whole thing is we see a lot of stimulating theatre, intellectually stimulating theatre, most nights of the week. When I watch television, a comfort show for me is something that doesn't require me to think, like The Real Housewives. I like culture on stage and I like a little bit of trash on TV.
Could you please send me where I'm in the Devil Wears Prada press video as?
Oh no, I knew this. We're in it.
Which one?
It's from the press launch. With
I
Jerry
feel like I
Mitchell.
remember that, but I don't remember it.
It's
Is it just when we're all
eating the
taking a
cheese.
photo?
We're eating the cheese. The cheese.
See, I've not seen that one. I only remember us being seen taking a photo with Jerry Mitchell.
It might be that.
Is there a new one?
The answer is because we were invited to a Devil Wears Prada press launch. And they're doing another one soon that we may or may not be going to, depending on other things that are happening. So you may see us in another Devil Wears Prada trailer. Honestly, it's very funny when we pop up in these trailers because
we don't know that it's going to happen.
We're in the Dear Evan Hansen one.
Yeah, we often kind of like, we might be in the background of something, we can see them filming and we'll be like, oh, that's interesting.
We usually happen to be there on the days they're filming.
But we normally just think, oh, we probably won't see that again, or we'll forget that happened. And then suddenly I'm like, oh, it's me.
Sometimes they pull us to come and chat. The Oklahoma one in the West End.
That was the funniest one when everybody was tagging and sending it to us.
Because they were putting that out on Instagram as a sponsored ad for months.
Yeah.
And I will never forgive. It was Sophie, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I will never forgive her for pulled us to come and chat to us at the interval. I was quite happy to talk about the show. And I said the words, I knew I was going to end up in the clip for saying this when I said, this is Oklahoma as you've never seen it before. I was like, they're putting this in and this is the start of the ad. And that's exactly what it was.
Not that, which was the thing.
And then at the end of the chat, you said stuff that ended up in there as well. And then at the end, they said, can you give us a yee-haw? And I was like, I don't think we'll do a good job of that. And they said, don't worry, we're going to get everyone to do it. Guess whose they used at the end of the ad? It's us. And we're not going like, yee-haw. Like we go, yee-haw. That's the way we do it.
Yeah.
It's us at the end of that going, yee-haw. Like, why did you use that? How bad were the other ones? Oh, I'd forgotten about that, actually. Yeah. Oh, dear.
But if we are in one, please send them to me or tag me or something like that, because otherwise I don't know it's happening, because obviously if it's like a sponsored ad or something, we don't see them.
Yeah. Secret Mind Twin was seeing Natasha Pierre in Chicago. Same show as Kate.
That's
like,
cool.
Same performance, I think.
Did you see them?
In a very small in-the-round theatre. It was great. I'm glad you enjoyed.
This sounds like cool.
Sean says, we need a new West End casting show for Ellie's fashion reviews alone. I want Ellie to be on the carpet at the Olivier's talking fashions with the stars, I think. Or indeed the Watson Stage Awards. They're happening first. Eva says, when I was talking to Phil Dunster after the last night of Oklahoma concert, Hannah Waddingham was there and talked to me and I was shaking, so I couldn't imagine a full interview.
That's so cool.
I simply would not be able to cope.
No, you would cry.
She's a goddess. You would
cry if you ever get to meet her.
I've met her at like a CD signing, but I embarrass myself in front of these people. Hear me out. Sweeney at Regent's Park, directed by Jamie Lloyd. Take my money now. I would welcome a Jamie Lloyd Regent's Park show because I think it would force him to make different creative choices. I mean, he did Evita there, which was terrific. I enjoyed a lot of his Evita.
Bonnie, we'd love it if you came to Mickey's show.
Bonnie, you've got to come see Joaquin. You've got to come see JPV in action. I don't know what I'm going to make him sing yet, but I feel like, do I want to get him and Toby to sing something together? Is that like a fun duet?
Do you know what? Sorry, I just was going to speak. Ellie, we are going to be exhausted after the 2 days of musical con, especially as we're heading straight to Mickey's show after the second day.
Yeah.
But also, I need to look at the schedule.
Yeah.
Now that we know we're going, because I didn't bother looking at what was happening until I knew we were going, because I didn't want to get that.
Yeah. Dalek Man asked, what are you both wanting to see at Musical Con this year?
I mean, we could live react to what the schedule is.
We could do a video talking through it. That'd be handy, wouldn't it?
I know, I just went now.
Oh, you mean now? We could. I'm so close to the end of my
Let's do that, and then
we'll. I just got through watching you hunt scavengers, a double feature. I hope you enjoyed. It was very fun to make that video. The National Theatre is stacked next year. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I can
It
finally
is
see
stacked.
London Road.
This is my favourite fact of the day. Pre-Guicophobia is the fear of sloths.
I love sloths.
Did you? I'm really hoping you just know that and you didn't Google it. Ellie says they restructured a lot of the score for Mean Girls, which improved it massively, in my opinion. Yeah, I didn't mind the score restructurings. I didn't even mind the cut songs. There's a lot of lyrics that are changed for no reason, for discernibly no reason, where it's just like, oh, it's that second verse of Revenge Party that ends with like, and then throw her in the river. I have no time for that. Nothing added to that verse. Like, it's something like, we'll do like stuff like this because it's fun. We'll have a real nice time with all our friends, and then we'll like put Regina in a bag. Like it doesn't do it for me.
It's only just turned midnight.
It's very early for us.
I mean, we did start at like what, 10?
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Hello from Las Vegas. Hello in
Yeah,
Las
10.
Vegas.
Must have been 10.
What kind of theatre do you get in Las Vegas? I'm intrigued.
A lot of big like Cirque du Soleil and
Well, yeah.
massive celebrities and
Celine, Adele.
I'm surprised that Titanique's not in
Erica
Las
Jane.
Vegas yet. Titanic in Las Vegas would make sense.
Titanic in Las Vegas would make such sense. By the way, I have had Lily's eyes stuck in my head since you and Jacob sang it at your first live show. Oh, that was a lovely.
That's very cute.
That was a lovely moment for me.
Especially to say that Jacob had only just got back in the country right before.
Yes. What do you think Chichester's next season will be like?
I don't
Good
know,
question,
actually,
Archie.
because this year, obviously, the musical was Oliver, because it was Cameron working with... Because Cameron has a history with Chichester for trying out his shows.
Oh, interesting, Cameron. Okay.
But I don't know what will be next, because also, obviously, I feel like the Big Summer Show this year also was part of, because of, it was Justin's first season.
Yeah, it was the changeover of ADs.
So musical-wise, I have no clue what it's going to be like, because he's not, like, his past history as an AD doesn't really show...
It's tricky because more stuff like Assassins is what I would welcome, but I don't know that plays as well to their subscriber base, who would like more stuff like The Sound of Music and South Pacific. But there's only so many. If they're going to do something like that, The Music Man is a show we have not had in the UK in a long time.
Did it.
Yeah. I would like to see The Music Man. I would like to see She Loves Me again. I know it's not been that long.
She Loves Me would be gorgeous at Chichester.
Yeah. I mean, they did it with Diane Pilkington in the Minerva.
Well, Music Man was the time when they had two Strallons.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of classic things I would like to see The Music Man, She Loves Me, On the 20th Century, Secret Garden. None of these aren't Golden Age classic. But that is what I would like to see. Thank you so much. High Society would be amazing to come back. High Society, Sonning did High Society last year. Old Vic, obviously, a few years before.
I wish
Leicester Curve before that.
I wish I'd seen the Maria Friedman one, because I'm fascinated by what that was.
That was gorgeous. That was...
Because wasn't there a cool Revolve moment?
The best of the three.
That's all I ever remember people talking about, was the cool Revolve moment.
Yes, and they flew a ship above the stage.
Yeah.
What's your favourite musical that you've ever watched or done? Into the Woods is my favourite musical of all time. Favourite one I've ever done?
Les Mis?
Oh, Les Mis. Dodoy, yes.
Producers.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that was also... Yeah, that was nice. The Prom at Regent's Park. Interesting. I love The Music Man, but it's soured for me since it's why Beetlejuice got kicked out of the marquee. The Winter Garden, but yes. I mean, that's true. But it wasn't The Music Man's... I mean, was that Scott Rudin?
Mm.
Blame Scott Rudin for that one. Blame Scott Rudin for a lot of things. I think it's hard for us to predict what Chichester's next season is going to look like, because they've had this change of artistic director, so possibly we'll see a bit of a change of vibe.
It might be the exciting season when we find out that. It's a while until we learn it, I think, isn't it? Until next Feb.
Yeah. Did you see Nick Butcher's Little Big Things return? Yes, rumours have been swirling for some time now that the Little Big Things is coming back. We assume it's going to come back at Soho Place. I'm old enough to have seen High Society at Old Vic by Maria. No, me too. I saw it. I was there. I'm old enough to have seen High Society on tour from the Leicester Curve.
I saw that.
Oh, there you go. With Alex Young.
Yeah.
With Daniel Boyce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The programs over there.
Yes. Oh yeah, we have two of them.
Yeah, from different places.
Richard, you saw Moulin Rouge, loved. Cake, loved. Stranger Things, adored. Chapel Rome was outstanding too. What a great trip you had.
Fave, Chapel Rome.
I know. Love Stranger Things so much I saw it again on Friday afternoon. I think I need to go back to Stranger Things and see it now knowing what it is. Has West Side been at Regent's Park? Can imagine that would be stunning. You know, I don't know if it has. I don't think it has. And I would love to see a Drew McConey directed and choreographed West Side Story at Regent's Park. That would be something, I think. Sorry, I'm just reading many comments. Should I watch the London Road movie or watch the show first? I'd watch the show first. It has a couple good gut punches that you want to experience live. Again, Kate Fleetwood. I saw Kate Fleetwood in that. What are your most rewatched theatre pro shots? We rewatched She Loves Me.
Yeah, which now.
Yeah, which will now take on even more resonance, sadly, after the loss of Gavin Creel. Other most rewatched pro shots. Legally Blonde is a classic for a reason.
Yeah. Do you know what? I still never watched the Hamilton pro shot.
Have you not? It's so good. We need to have a movie night.
Yeah.
With
I just realised that I haven't watched it.
What are Hamilton-themed snacks? We'll figure that out, but I'm
just
excited.
like black and white cookies because New York.
We could do that on election night. We could stay in and watch Hamilton.
Okay.
That would be fun.
Fine. Stock up on snacks.
Who do you want them to cast in London Road? It would be lovely if they brought back a lot of the alumni.
I think that would add a lot more meaning because it's such a limited run. I hope that's what they're planning to do.
That's what Rufus wants to do.
Yeah.
But also,
see it happening.
It's a great show for brilliant actors who don't normally do musical theatre because it's not very sing-songy.
I still remember Melanie Labarrie's post about this, saying that because Mel did the film and saying how it was one of the hardest films to learn.
I have more than 17 hanging baskets in my back garden. Where would you say the best front of house team are? All front of house teams are superstars. All front of house teams are great. I don't I've been struck by individuals being like, oh my gosh, that person was really lovely. But front of house teams are brilliant everywhere. And there's nowhere that I can think of where it's like, oh, the front of house team are I think they're a bit more to the point on Broadway than in the West End, but they have to be. They get people in faster.
There's a whole different thing though, because it's playbills needing to be passed. And I think on Broadway you get taken to your seat and show where your seats are.
And they're moving more people in a smaller time window. It's like go to this aisle there, but they're also really lovely.
Yeah, but it's just a slightly more relaxed approach than the West End compared to Broadway, and I don't think that's a bad thing either way. I think both ways work.
When we went to Nottingham Playhouse recently, that was a really nice team.
They were really lovely.
Yeah. Have you guys seen All of Us Strangers with Andrew Scott and Paul Mescal by any chance?
I haven't watched it, but I feel like it's sad. And that puts me off watching things, I'll be honest. In Vegas,
we have the national tours at our Smith Centre for the Performing Arts. Oh, there you go. Anything exciting coming soon? I'm so intrigued. I saw a version of High Society years ago on tour in Belfast. The set was stunning, a huge wedding cake that opened up to the rooms, and the programme was like a champagne menu book. Ooh, it does sound nice.
Was that the version we saw?
No, I don't think it was the version we saw. I think this must have been before. My favourite show I've seen this year was Mnemonic at the National or Kyoto at the RSC.
Ooh.
See, I'll get to see Kyoto, but I missed Mnemonic because the Edinburgh Fringe was slap bang in the middle. I missed Mnemonic, I missed the Hot Winking, and I've still not forgiven myself for missing those. But I'm glad you enjoyed, Eva, but I wish you could tell me that it was terrible. No, I knew that was going to be terrific. Soundboard operator and about to do our closing show. Love all your videos. Break a leg for your closing show. I've got an exciting few days, says Archie, Redlands and Julian Ovenden in concert at CFT, and Dear Evan Hansen at Theatre Royal Brighton.
Very fun.
Enjoy all the above. That's a nice variety of things as well. Richard, you were sat further back for Stranger Things Round 2 and saw so much more that you'd missed the first time sat at the front. Maybe that's what I need to do. maybe I need to go back, sit further back. I was just my whole thing with Stranger Things. I think that coloured a lot of my experience, and there's still parts of it that I'm like, I don't understand some of the creative choices they make. But my whole thing is I just went in expecting revelations, and I'd just that day finished watching the series that I'd spent the 2 weeks before watching.
Yeah.
And it just kind of riffed on stuff we already knew. It didn't deliver, which makes sense because you don't want to tell a whole world of TV fans, oh, you need to go see this play in London to understand everything else. But they marketed it that way.
Yeah.
And they were like, this holds the key. And I'm like, did it though? I guess we'll find out with the new season if there's like a detail. I'm intrigued about the ending of the Stranger Things play, what that seems to say, because it's quite open. Are you going to see the Rockettes?
Ellie wants to come over to watch Hamilton.
I mean, we've now decided we're watching it in New York, so that's something of a commute. Are you going to see the Rockettes? We could. I don't know that I've ever been. I know the Rockettes are brilliant. I know it's like a New York staple. We see a lot of amazing dance on Broadway.
Yeah.
Job is an excellent piece of theatre. We're getting there too late for Job, and I'm so sad about it. I'm really so sad.
Ellie, I'll be more awake than the Tonys. We remember how sleepy you got.
Oh, yeah. That was a fun night. I loved our Tonys party.
We need like the quartet of us more often.
Yeah.
It was nice and relaxed.
I wish Macquarie's had a website where you could order their cookies, and we wish they shipped it internationally.
Or they just had a Schmackery's in London. Let's be honest. That's what we'd like for. Well, you've had Levan.
I love Levan. Levan. I've not tried Insomnia cookies. Oh, you're all making me hungry. It's midnight. Stop this. I love Levain. Someone brought Levain bakery cookies to our very first New York meetup, and they were so lovely. And I'm forever indebted to those people for introducing me to them. If you want a fantastic show to watch, you should watch If I Forget by Stephen Levinson with Jeremy Shamos and Kate Walsh. Is this television?
I think so.
If Teeth transfers to Broadway, Elise wins the Tony easy.
I think it'll just stay off Broadway. I think they want to do what?
I think it will.
I feel like it's found its...
But also she wouldn't this season. This season's wild. And Chenoweth's coming in next season.
No, that's true.
Do you think the long game for Sunset Boulevard is for it to end up back on the West Coast so Tom can sing the title song on actual Sunset Boulevard?
I could see that.
Yes and no, because they don't. That's not what this production is about. This production is not about realism. So it matters less.
Oh.
If it's real success, I could see them wanting to do one there.
If I Forget is a play, it's fantastic.
Oh, it's not a piece of television; it's a play. Fine, we will look into it. Yeah, no, I don't know about that. I recently did Godspell as my second-year college show, and it reminded me how good of a show it is. I would die for a revival. I'd love a Godspell. Where's a fun place to do a Godspell revival? Upstairs at the Gatehouse would do a fun Godspell. I'd welcome a Menier Godspell. I'd welcome a...
Donmar would probably be a good space.
Bring over the Ken Davenport Broadway revival and put it in at Soho Place.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun.
Honestly, bring me into a meeting, Nika Burns. I can sort out at Soho Place for the next year. And then you can have like a wheelchair user inclusive cast.
Yeah.
Like Amy Trigg in that Godspell revival.
Would be very fun. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be fun? Wouldn't it be fun? Has anyone tried a Playbill in London? Lots of space for advertising with all those theatres. I
think that's a decision from Playbill.
Yeah.
Playbill currently don't seem like London, UK, West End is a goal yet. I hope it will be at some point because I think it'd be interesting to I feel like it's interesting because Playbill don't have any relationship to the West End, so it's just very Broadway.
I don't think the theatres want Playbills.
I don't think they want them
because
they make so much money from.
They make a lot of money on programs and souvenir brochures. And
I get why some people much prefer programs because you get a lot more information on the shows and stuff like that you don't get in Playbills.
And I would not welcome a world where we have both because I think that's environmentally irresponsible. Mm-hmm. Sadly, so it's difficult. There's pros and cons, but I do say I will say we get really excited about Playbills.
Yeah.
When we go to New York.
And I just like that everything's the same size.
And I don't think when we come back I'm like really excited for programs.
No.
And our programs all go on a shelf over there. And it's useful to occasionally look back and see who was in stuff and see pictures like that. Sometimes it's very lovely. And we got given some programs recently from old shows, and that's been amazing. Oh, you can see them. They've been there the whole time. That's been really cool looking through those. But I don't display them. And I do display
Playdolls. Yeah.
Because they look neat. What was the first show you guys saw?
I still don't know. I know that when I was a baby, I was taken to play days and screamed, so did not see the show.
You would sit on the floor and cover your ears?
No, this was when I was a baby.
No, but like later on, when you were a teenager.
Yeah, no, when I was a teenager, when I was a child.
That was my joke.
It took me a long time to like theatre, I'll be honest.
It was very overstimulating.
Yeah, it was just very loud. It was very loud, and I wasn't like... I think I just didn't like the idea that you didn't know what was going to happen. And that was... Which is probably why I like spoilers. But I liked the fact that I knew, like... It was loud noises, like, that was sudden and, like, would make you jump. I just didn't like the concept of that. I much preferred to know... So then when I got a bit older and could have a better idea of, like, that, I felt a lot calmer. Just anxiety.
My one, I saw the Joseph Tour a lot in childhood. I saw Cats, but that was a little bit later. It was either the Joseph Tour or Philip Schofield in the Dr. Dolittle musical. What's your favourite LGBT movie that has queer joy as its main themes instead of queer pain? That's a great question and an important conversation.
Love Simon.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I mean, does have a bit.
It's a bit of both.
Yeah,
it's still
it's
like
a bit
a
of
coming
bit.
out. Let's just have like a good queer joy.
I wish it was quicker to say.
No, I'm sure there's some. It's just not as the ones I think of, like the really momentous ones. It's because they're like hard hitting and like Pride, and that's not a queer joy. There are, but they tend to be littler.
Or they tend to be ones that like have queer joy in them, but it's not queer protagonists, like Connie and Carla, or like.
Oh yeah. And that's still a bit of queer trauma, honestly. We can get one. We can get there. Eventually.
I'm trying to think. It's that I wish that was easier to answer. It makes me feel a bit sad that.
I'm sure there are. It'll come to us eventually. Any news on the Devil Wears Prada cancellations? They've just cancelled some Wednesday shows and a couple of, like, they've cancelled one that's on the day of like the Royal Variety, I think.
It's probably there. It's probably schedules coming out for public appearances and things that are linked, and it's trying to.
A lot of shows cancel in previews. It's a thing that happens. It's not a source of concern. The Hot Wing King was very enjoyable. Did you ever see the original London production of Billy Elliot?
Yes.
I've only seen it on film.
Lived it.
The next showing for Las Vegas is Back to the Future, the musical, for 2 weeks. I think that'll do well.
Las Vegas.
Yeah. Do you think Jagged Little Pill will ever come to the UK? Do you know? I don't know, because
I know who will produce it.
It was ready to, and then it didn't. So hard to say.
Trafalgar produced the production that opened in Australia. But I think with Next to Normal in particular, like there's been like similar musicals that have happened, and I don't know. I think it would all tie into what's happening with Alanis, because I think in the UK it would have to fall on it's an Alanis Morissette musical more than it did. I mean, it did have to in New York, but it would really have to lean on that in the UK.
Yeah. What was the original ending for The Hills of California? I'm not going to tell you here because it's a spoiler. It's just little... The flavour of the ending is different from what I can tell, but I haven't seen the Broadway one yet, so I really can't say. But yeah, the vibes are different, but the actual content is not, if that makes sense. That's what I've been told anyway. Philip asks, where do we do our food shopping? Tesco and bits and pieces from Sainsbury's, and sometimes bits and pieces from M&S if we're looking for specific
It
things.
depends on what.
Mostly Tesco, largely Tesco. We've been doing lots of cooking recently.
We have done a lot of cooking recently, both of us.
I cooked yesterday for the first time in weeks, months, calendar years.
Because I normally do the cooking.
You do, yeah. You're a better cook than I. I like to bake. I just haven't had time to in weeks, months, calendar years.
But you love to clean. I
do love to clean. Do I love to clean? I get satisfaction from cleaning. I don't know if it's the same thing.
I would say so.
I think you think I love to clean.
Yeah. You get very excited at points about it.
Erin's a whiz with the air fryer. Erin does wonderful things in the air fryer. And we did a good collaborative recipe recently where we made this cornbread topped casserole,
which is basically a chili.
Yeah, but you made the chili thing, and I made the cornbread on top, and you calmed me down about it because I put it on and I was like, this is not going to work. I've messed it up. It's going to spill over the sides, and it was so good. Yeah, I was astonished.
Yeah, it was really good. Really, really good.
We both did very well. Very sorry to hear that about everything happening in Florida, but glad we can help you keep entertained and chill. Yeah, I hope everyone's doing okay. My Stranger Things experience was tarnished, says Dom97, because I dropped my phone before it started and only found it under my seat after the show, so that was on my mind. Oh, no, that's annoying.
I've had something like that happen before, where it's like either that or something similar that you've just read right before it starts, when you're thinking about it. Yeah. Or trains. When we realised before the show starts, we're like, oh gosh, the trains are a nightmare to get back home. And then you're watching the show and internally thinking, please don't overrun because I need to get somewhere. That's not spam, but TikTok thinks it is. I initially thought it was as well, and then I read to the end and understood why. Speaking of She Loves Me, love Gavin, but I was recently thinking about the irony of Laura playing Melania Trump and now Zachary Levi coming out as a Trump supporter. Yeah, love Laura Benanti and her hilarious impersonation of Melania, and saddened and shocked by the entire direction of Zachary Levi's career. In an alternate universe, Zachary Levi is doing very well as a charming Broadway leading man because he had the chops to do it. Unfortunately, his mind has melted. Fetch is now finally happening.
Fetch is happening.
I love these Fetch cups, and the backs are cute. Is
this what we look like on TikTok?
Yeah.
So does it say Hookatef?
I'm guessing so.
Hookatef. Highly recommend row L for Stranger Things. All of Us Strangers is sad, but 100% worth it. It's in Sean's letterboxd top 4. Do you think there's going to be big changes to Tammy Faye for Broadway? I think there's going to be changes for sure.
I think there kind of has to be for the type of theatre they're in.
Yeah. What's the next big musical in London? There's a lot of... in the next few months, it's all about the off-West End because the producers, Roadshow, and Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812
but then
all happening off West End.
The West End, there's Benjamin Button and Titanic.
Yes. Benjamin Button is the next one that's happening, the next big musical in London. And it's lovely. It's based on the F. Scott Fitzgerald story in as much as it's about a man aging backwards, but every other detail about it is different.
Because it's set in Cornwall.
Yeah, they've transplanted it from America to a pre-World War I Cornish fishing village. So. And so it's folky, it's mesmerizing, it's beautiful. Went to see The Cabinet Minister at the Miniature Chocolate Factory and was amazed by how lovely that venue is despite my thoughts on the play. Oh, I've heard really good things about the play, but Menier is a lovely venue. I love the Menier.
The Menier is interesting as well by how much that space can change. The only thing that makes me really sad is what's happened to everything outside of the venue there and it feeling very uncertain.
Yeah. Godspell Regent's Park would be fun, Ellie, and I didn't know you'd taken Godspell to Germany in 2019. How fun.
I have so many questions there about that.
Yeah.
Which bit of Germany, Ellie?
Yeah, whereabouts in Germany? Everyone agrees Godspell at Regent's Park would slap with a campfire and blankets.
Well, the thing with Godspell as well is that one, I'd need it to be the new revival arrangements because
When wilt thou save
gorgeous.
the people?
But then
oh God of mercy.
the interesting thing with Godspell is how it can change what it means. Oh no, I know what would be great at. Sorry,
I've seen a thing about that, Jonathan. Yeah.
I know what would be great at Regent's Park, especially because of a link with Drew McConey doing it and what the set design is. Illinois.
Oh, Illinois would be lovely.
Because it's set outdoors.
Illinois would be great at Regent's Park. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh.
Because you could do Little Shop kind of had that set.
Yeah. By the way, did you see Rachel Tucker has joined the cast of Hades?
Yes.
Oh, so did their Ragtime, by the way. They had a big...
Oh.
Yeah. Yes, Rachel Tucker has joined the cast of Hades Town. Surprising casting, but I'm very excited for it. And yeah, definitely one of my favourite Elphabas as well. Eddie says, hey lads, I went to see Dear Evan Hansen yesterday in Leicester at the Curve. I really enjoyed it. The scenery in Frosted Glass was very clever. Seemed like they missed out a huge chunk. Interesting. I mean, the material is almost exactly the same. But yeah, I like the Frosted Glass. I like the set design by Morgan Lodge.
No, it wasn't by Morgan Lodge.
Was it not? No, it wasn't by Morgan Lodge.
He was just there at the press night, so I thought it was, but it wasn't.
I thought it was.
No.
What's the Morgan Lodge set we've seen recently?
No, he was very nice, said it, and then when I looked at the program, I was like, oh, it wasn't.
No, I think it was.
Well, I thought it was, and then I looked at the program and it said it wasn't. So now I'm confused.
Yeah. Dom, I'm not sure what you are referencing when you say couldn't a new company just do it. Oh, you mean playbills? Even if it cost £1, many would buy. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think there's interest in making playbills when we already have programs. It would have to be an either-or thing, and producers and theatre owners would face losing a lot of money from the program sales because programs have gotten very expensive. I'd love a combination. I love the picture books. Yeah. People want the best of both worlds. It's tricky. Is Love Actually the musical LGBTQ queer joy? Who's gay in Love Actually?
I've still not watched that.
Have you not?
I've seen clips, but I don't think I've watched it before. It's one of those movies that's been on, and I've definitely not paid attention to it. So I probably have, but I have definitely not paid attention.
Who's gay in Love Actually? Emma Thompson's a gay icon, but that's not the same thing. Worst musical you ever saw? Probably something at the Fringe nobody's heard of. Have you been to the candlelight concerts at the Actors' Church? Was thinking about booking the Sondheim tribute. We have.
Yeah, it was
very lovely,
nice.
Very stirring, very just gentle and nice.
Very good for a date night.
Yeah, very good for a date night. Lovely way to spend an evening. Yeah. Whenever Hills of California is brought up, I have to mention Ophelia Loverbond because Aaron also loves Ophelia Loverbond.
Apologies. I just read this saying, would love to see a Bridge to Terabithia musical, and I'm like, yes.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's sad.
I know, that's why I haven't seen it.
It's very good, but it's very
Sean
sad.
Turner is shouting out Ophelia Loverbond. I thought you'd enjoy that.
Love Ophelia Loverbond.
There you go. Yes, Ellie.
And she can sing.
Ellie, I'm going to message you what's changed in Hills of California because it's
a lot different.
One sentence is going to blow your mind.
Yeah.
Broomstick asks, what was each of our first West End shows that we have seen?
Mary Poppins at the Prince Edward Theatre.
With?
I had Rebecca Locke on for Mary. She was the understudy.
And mine was Wicked in late 2006 with Idina Menzel. You can thank my sister who went to our parents and said, we need to go see this show. We need to go see it before this lady leaves. I basically remember it. But it would have been around the same time.
Yeah.
Mickey, I know you're a big Lord of the Rings fan. Hold on. Yep.
No.
Have you already watched Rings of Power? Season 2 is so good. I have not.
You've not watched season 1? I
have not watched season 1. I like the Lord of the Rings films. I've read The Hobbit and the first book. I did not make it to the second book.
You're also somebody that like
I like the Peter Jackson films.
But you're also kind of like, when it comes to, because even with Marvel and stuff and Star Wars, like, It's somebody that likes stuff like that, but not very good at like.
I don't like where this sentence is going.
What I mean is like a film and TV, keeping up on top of it.
That's because we're at the theatre constantly.
You don't. What I mean is you don't nerd out as much on that kind of thing.
I used to. Turn your head to the left and look at my comic book collection.
That wasn't me trying to be shady. That was just me trying to be like.
How it left your mouth.
That's just no, but it's just like. But when we talk about Marvel and stuff, there's only so much capacity you have for it.
That's because I've already gone through that tunnel, and you discovered Marvel and Star Wars as a thing to be excited about later in life than I did.
That's true.
I spent more of my childhood doing that. There are photos of it. I had the figures. I recreated the Battle of Helm's Deep using 100 little minifigures on this very cool Helm's Deep toy set that was so cool. Even my mother, who liked Lord of the Rings, watched the Lord of the Rings films with us as a family, but was not big into it, said that was such a cool toy set that you had. Everyone was just like, what a really cool toy set. I had Star Wars figures, and I had the Star Wars planes that you could crash into things and they would do fake damage, and you could press a button and pop back out. I did that for years. And then I didn't grow out of it. I just then moved to theatre, basically. What's your opinion on Jez Butterworth comments on the Royal Court Theatre? I remember, I read that Theatre Mania interview, and I remember reading the thing that he had choice words about the Royal Court. I didn't actually read, I skimmed it, and I didn't find the bit of what he actually said about the Royal Court. However, the Royal Court is newly under a completely different artistic director. So I think now is not the time to sling mud at them unless you're very specific about what it is you're saying. I didn't read what he said, but I just thought it was potentially ill-timed.
And we're also on Mickey's YouTube channel.
Yeah, we're on MickeyJoTheatre on YouTube.
Sam asked, would you make a video comparing the Hills of California and the differences?
I will make a video of Hills of California on Broadway talking about the differences. They're not big enough. The cast is the same. The production is the same. It's not big enough to do a this versus this. But within the context of a Broadway review,
and you'll probably do a TikTok talking about it as well.
Yeah. I'll do both of those things. Philip, I disagree with you that Hills of California is a middling play at best, and so did many of the reviews. Your Edinburgh Fringe vlogs convinced me to try making Millionaire's Shortbread. How did it go? Did it go well? I hope it went well. By the way, could Pride be considered a film about queer joy? Sadly not. It's a lovely film, and it contains queer joy within it, but it is not independent of.
It's not it's not a film where it's just queer joy and they don't go to.
It's set during during some of the earlier years of the AIDS epidemic.
I'm still struggling to think of.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of just silly, frivolous.
Oh, I know one that would be. So if somebody's talking about queer joy film, they'd probably say Red, White, and Royal Blue.
I thought of that earlier.
I don't necessarily think that's a film that I'd go back and rewatch, but that would fit into that because it's for a frothy gay film.
I never watched the Dan Levy Christmas, the gay Christmas movie.
Fire Island.
Oh, we love Fire Island.
Fire Island.
There you go.
Queer joy.
Fire Island was a good one. And it's still it's not what I think when I think queer joy, because it's unpacking a lot of internalized shame and stuff, but it's not traumatic either. It's silly and funny. The top of okay, Philip. The top of Act 2 Sunset seems gimmicky. Have you seen the show? I need you to see the show. People who have, I'm going to make a TikTok about this because I'm too heated about it. I need people who do not live in New York to stop commenting on obviously this was never going to work in New York because New York's if you're not from there. And I need people who have not seen Sunset Boulevard inside the theatre to stop saying well, he's clearly not on Sunset Boulevard, so it doesn't make sense. This is not a naturalistic, realistic production. It is metaphorical. It is imagery. It is stylized. It is conceptual. It is artistic. And it's brilliant. See it from inside of the theatre, then tell me your feelings on it. There are people, it's still divisive. I'm not saying everyone loves it. There are people who saw it, who still did not care for that approach. A lot of people miss the stairs. I don't know what to tell you. There are other shows with stairs.
The Birdcage. Somebody said.
Oh, the bird! I love the Birdcage. Yes, Paul. That's a great answer. That's my dad's favorite film of all time, actually. Which was it made it a lot easier for me to come out to my parents because he said that for as long as I remembered. If or when Be More Chill comes back, eye emoji. What role would you want to hypothetically play? I never teased that I was going to be in it, Broomstick. I share a name with one of the characters, but I don't think I can sing that song as well as George Salazar and Blake Patrick Anderson did. I think it would be, I'd be a fun squip. I don't know.
I'm just looking at you with a blank face.
You haven't seen Be More Chill?
I have no connection at all.
I can sing. You would love the song Michael in the Bathroom. Have you heard?
I know that song.
Yeah.
I know that song, but otherwise, like it's
what I should sing when I'm taking too long to get ready in the mornings. Now I'm just Michael in the. My name is Michael. If that was not clear.
That's a fun one.
Ideas for iconic Broadway-themed couples costumes.
Because we've been talking about that recently.
Don't you tell them. Don't you spoil it. Don't say what it is.
No, man.
I'm so excited. We have a fun Halloween couples costume planned. Don't try and guess because I won't be able to hide it.
I mean, I feel like lots of people. Wicked will be the one at the minute where you'll have versions where it's like Alphabet and Fiyero, different versions of Fiyero depending on whether you want to go earlier on in the film or earlier on in the musical or later. But then some people will do Alpha and Glinda, like The Secret Love.
And I think just like being a couple and like dressing as a couple is also like it's sweet, but it's the most obvious thing you could do. So I welcome something a little bit more out of the box. Like at those Comic Cons where people dress as Kimmy Schmidt and go and like pose with all the Iron Man cosplayers and like do the pose from Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt and confuse them.
I don't know why, but in my head I was like, one person dresses as the chandelier and one person dresses as the barricade.
Forbidden Love. Yeah, stuff like that. That's fun. I like that. That's silly. Or be like Carlotta Giudicelli and is it Piangi?
Yeah, that's it.
Yes, I was confusing him with Sweeney Todd. That's Pirelli. Yeah.
The Witches, I could see. I think from what I understand, The Witches is from what Baz said in Deadline was that The Witches is doing workshops. Yeah, that's what he said.
Yes, someone said the tassels on the hoodie aren't balanced, and I can't stop looking at it. They're sort of coming from different places, and one of them's lost its thing on it. It's also not my hoodie; it's Aaron's. So don't blame me. Calla Lily, we have discussed the logistics and safety of Sunset Boulevard on the street in New York. We talked about this a little bit earlier. There was one performance where timing went a bit wrong with Hell's Kitchen, and the audience were coming out at the same time, and it still functionally worked. They just had a little bit of friction with some of the crowd there. There's been a lot of other performances where it's gone very well. They're in previews, they're teething, they're working out how it's going to work. No one's been like tackled and thrown to the ground that I have seen. I've not been watching all of the footage from it. I don't think it's... People are being very dramatic about it, and there's a lot of like takes where it's like, obviously this was never going to work. Who said it's not working? Who said it hasn't worked? They're figuring it out. They're finding a way.
That if it's working is if it disrupts or something goes wrong in the auditorium of what the people are watching. If it doesn't look weird inside the auditorium when they're watching it, it worked.
And it's live theatre. Like they're trying to do something innovative. And until Tom Francis,
they've already done rain, etc. in the UK. They've already had all the weather things. They've done it many times there. Like
the UK is not a snow globe.
Yeah.
Until Tom Francis says he feels uncomfortable, like it's not for us to be projecting from the outside. I think. Oh! I've lost it. Oh, I was so caught up, and then I've slowed down. Do you think The Witches... Oh, you've done that one.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to help.
Daniel Bailey was fantastic. Not Daniel Bailey. Daniel Rigby was fantastic. Not Daniel Bailey. It's apple season. I love apple. I'm allergic to apples. Fun fact.
I love peanut butter.
Any musicals that you feel are really underrated? Yes. I was thinking about this list the other day. Dogfight, although you hear it talked about a lot in internet circles. What do you think is an underrated musical? Ghost Quartet doesn't get enough love.
Amelie, the new version, got a lot of love, got a lot of fans, but more people like it should be remembered even more strongly.
The Mystery of Edwin Drood, Titanic is a big one that's been having more of its moment recently.
Oh, Romantics Anonymous.
Romantics Anonymous.
So good.
I think that's still that's like unknown is the problem.
Yeah, I want it back
because there's no recordings.
Even though it was filmed multiple times as a live stream.
Did you see Adam Garcia as Fierro? Yes, I did. I wish I remembered it more. I vaguely remember dark hair and trousers. What is the next show you would like to see Sam Tutty in? I like that he's...
I just can't imagine. I just feel like he's not going to be on stage unless like Two Strangers does go to New York and he goes with it. I just feel like he's going to appear in TV or film next. I just have this.
I would like to see him get to do TV and film. I really liked in Two Strangers that he was not playing a teenager, and I would welcome him continuing to not play a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
He'd make a lovely Marius. I don't think
he would.
I don't think he's past that phase necessarily.
He would.
Oh, there was an LGBTQ plus relationship in Love Actually that was cut from the film. A lesbian couple with Frances de la Tour. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Love Actually is such a heterosexual movie. I could not see a queer couple in it. It's a very straight movie. Oh, the John Hannah speech from Four Weddings and a Few. You are my north, my south, my east, and my west. Kills me.
I have watched it, but I cannot tell you much about it.
I actually haven't. I just know that bit. Simon Godwin is the best Shakespearean director ever. He should have been the choice to lead the National Theatre. I don't know if he applied.
I also don't think Shakespeare's the thing for the National.
No. Surely you mean the Royal Shakespeare Company? Yeah,
the National is more about representing different communities and new playwrights, really, more than revivals.
Yeah. We are streaming simultaneously here on YouTube and also on Aaron's TikTok at Aaron James UK. Philip, you've just said, I assume this was in response to something that you've just said, The Princess Diaries 3! ! And I don't know what that means. Do you think the stage production of Pride will be good? All depends on the music.
I want to know who's composing, if it's a jukebox or if it's somebody's composed music.
Yeah.
There's been nothing released about that. And until we hear that, I don't know what to think.
That's a really big question mark. For any new musical, that's always a really big question mark.
Yeah. I feel like I can't even think what it could be like without knowing that.
Yeah. How do you think Sunset is going to do on Broadway? I think it's going to do very well. I don't think this is a Cabaret situation. Cabaret was already not reviewed well in the West End by American critics who came over.
But American critics loved Sunset in the UK, so yeah. That's a good sign.
I think it's going to blow up. It's going to be zeitgeisty. It's already happening. It's already the thing everyone's talking about, and that is only going to continue.
Eva, I very much agree with you.
Yeah. Yes, we are coming back to Broadway at the end of this month for a decent long stretch. Eva, I think it's... I don't swear by every single Jamie Lloyd production. Truly, I loved Sunset. I really did not like Romeo and Juliet, as I have made explicitly clear on this platform. I enjoyed Urinetown. I enjoyed Evita. There's a lot of innovation and creativity, and I think it's more so now. It's easier to see what they're all going to be like because there is such similarity in the style at this point. And I'm kind of hoping the Tempest breaks from that a little bit.
We say that word different. I've noticed this a bit.
The Tempest.
As I say, the Tempest.
The Tempest. The Tempest. Like tempestuous. The Tempest. The Tempest. I'm going to be thinking about that constantly now. Philip says, it's only a matter of time. This is back on the Sunset Boulevard of it all. It's only a matter of time till the city tells them they can't stop the traffic.
They've already had all the discussions before it even
Are we really
started.
assuming they're doing this without talking to the city? Of course they've talked to the city.
Yeah.
Of course they have permits for what they're doing. Yeah, Neve, I agree with you. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Saw someone on Twitter today say the Sunset Walk wouldn't work in London unaware of the West End run. Yeah, the whole time it worked very seamlessly. But they had the advantage of not as many people knew about it. In general, I think theatre here doesn't get as buzzy in the mainstream.
Yeah.
It took right until the end of the run for people to start cottoning on to the fact that it happened. And obviously everyone already knew that with it then coming to Broadway. There was already this conversation about like, where are they going to do it? Is it the roof? Is it
there was already so much more focus on it.
Yeah. Did you enjoy Nicole Scherzinger's performance?
Yes.
She's sensational in it.
Yes, Matthew Lopez did write the script to Red, White and Royal Blue.
Yeah. Sometimes he like summarizes your entire existence with The Inheritance, and sometimes he writes Red, White and Royal Blue. Thank you for the hat, love. Yes. Recently discovered Ride the Cyclone. Have you seen a production of this musical? Not a production, and I've never researched it because it's the same thing.
I've seen a tiny bit of it.
It's the same thing as A Star Kid. I know the internet cares about it very deeply, and it's like I want to hold off on it until I can do a proper reaction. But I know that my good friend Brendan over at Wait in the Wings here on YouTube is about to drop a big documentary about it that he's been teasing for some time. I feel like Sweeney Todd and Mrs. Lovett is an obvious couple costume off the top of my head. It is. And yet, if we were to do a Sweeney Todd couple costume, I feel like I would make you be Sweeney Todd and I would be a pie. Just like a big round pie costume with and I could make my face look like I do cat makeup, like I'm a cat in a pie. Isn't that good? Yeah. Or can we just be cats? Can we just be the cats from Cats?
You already dressed up as one before.
What if you were one of the new ballroom cats, and I was one of the original cats, and we were giving different cats? I've been dressing up as the cats from Cats for years. There's photos of me as a child dressed as Mr. Mistopheles. Oh yeah.
Anyhow.
Have you ever been to Spain or Portugal?
I've been to Spain.
I've also been to Spain.
What was the most impressive set piece you've ever seen on stage? That's a really interesting question.
And I'm sure there's good answers.
Oh no, that's hilarious, Cameron. I'm sorry. Sweeney Todd and Jenna from Waitress.
The Bakers.
High musicals together.
The Bakers.
Then you just need the baker from A Baker's Wife.
And the baker from Into the Woods.
Yeah.
But they're just both dressed like bakers.
It's all bakers.
Most impressive set piece you've ever seen on stage. You saw the original. Someone's just commented about Mary Poppins UK tour, and you saw the original Mary Poppins house.
The original Mary Poppins house and the original West End production was remarkable.
I'm going to say Treasure Island at the National Theatre. It was this pirate ship, and then there was this whole cave system. But it was huge. It was vast. It was incredible.
Well, it was incredible as well. The ships, because Our Country's Good also had a ship that came up.
Yeah, and As You Like It did something crazy as well, where the first act I think was played in this office space with this low-hanging network of overhead lights, like office lighting, and then at the end of this act, they all started to rise up, and the chairs and the tables were all chained to it, and then all everything was falling off the desks, and it was all just pulled up into the sky, and then they played the whole rest of the play beneath it. Madly cool, but staplers going everywhere.
I didn't realize Shoshana Bean was leaving Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, is this been announced? Is Shoshana Bean leaving Hell's Kitchen? I know she was out of the show the other night for because it was Jewish holiday, but I didn't know she was leaving. Eva Van Hove did the same thing in Network and no one complained. Exactly. Have you lads ever been to Kilworth House outside theatre?
It's tricky to get to.
We don't drive.
Yeah, that's the issue for us. It's just tricky to get to.
Yeah. Maybe Happy Ending is going to flop. Can't wait to see what takes the Velasco in the spring.
Oh, she's trying to put a post. She leaves on December 1st.
Oh, she leaves on December 1st. There you go. Is Donna Vivino taking over? Because I love Donna Vivino and would gladly go see. Also, hello, Brian. I did not know you were with us. Yeah, well, again, Philip, I will say the same thing to you I said to TikTok a moment ago. What we're not going to do is speculate about shows flopping and closing before they even start previews. It is mean-spirited, it is pointless, and there's a lot of reasons to be very excited about maybe Happy Ending. And, you know, there's a lot of shows like Harmony, like How to Dance in Ohio, that audiences did not do right by. Audiences were not kind enough to those shows because everyone... Oh, Jonathan, I did see that. Oh, I did. Oh, that's very sad if that's the case. No, you're right. I did see that. Yeah, I don't, and I know I'm a self-appointed musical theatre pundit here on social media, so I'm the last person who should be saying this to anyone, but people can just go and see and support and enjoy theatre. People don't have to be like, I think this is going to flop, so when it does, I'll be the person who said it. What does that gain you? What does that gain you? And I think too many people were saying that about How to Dance in Ohio, saying it about Harmony before they even came in, didn't go see the show because they're like, well, that's going to flop. I missed out on a lot of really beautiful, like, yes, the shows weren't financially successful, but they were both brilliant in their own ways. And I don't think audiences, and I'm sorry to at people, sometimes specifically the New York theatre community, I think concerns itself too much with identifying like what's going to be the hit, what's going to be the flop, and like that's going to win the Tony. Like I can say that 6 months in advance. Doesn't matter. Doesn't gain you anything to do that. You're not making, unless you're an investor on it.
We are at 10-1.
We are. Let's do 10 more minutes, then we've done a solid 3 hours.
Yeah.
Are you helping Sean with his trip? We are.
Yeah.
We are doing our best. I saw Cabaret with the new cast, and they are so good, especially Adam Lambert, and not just his singing. I'm looking forward to your thoughts on it. Me too. Me too. What are your thoughts on bootleg recordings of Broadway shows? Do you think they do harm? It's so difficult because there's been lovely videos shared of wonderful Gavin Creel this week, and I've been very grateful that those exist, and there's a lot of great culture that exists. Brian, you know I'm not atting you and your job, but do you work on Broadway, Brian? I know geographically you work on Broadway. Do you work for Broadway? This is a different conversation. But I was looking at that camera. I wasn't looking at you. What was I saying? Bootlegs. Yeah, there's a lot of brilliant cultural memories and things that we have because of bootlegs. What I can't get past is recording people at their place of work without their consent.
Yeah.
I just can't get past that, sadly. Even if it means we lose a lot of stuff, because we have to, at some point, deal with the reality that theatre is inherently temporary and ephemeral. Isn't Simon Godwin already a resident director of the National? If he's that good at Shakespeare, he can do new plays. He's the best. What about musicals? Can we have musicals at the National Theatre too, please? Thank you so much. 5 Broadway shows coming into this season, all premiered in Chicago this year. Oh, how fun. What do you think of the Parade tour cast? I'm glad Max Chernin is going to be the principal Leo. Me too. Again, I saw a bootleg clip doing the rounds on Instagram the other day. And Talia Saskawa along with him. I think that's going to be very special. It's just a wonderful production. I'm very glad that's touring. I think America needs it, actually. What do you think is I think the UK would also actually, I'm not just America there. I think a lot of the world needs it. What do you think is the most likely winner of Best New Musical at the Tonys this year? I think it's way too soon to say. There could be new musicals that come in that we don't even know about yet. Are you going to see Audra in Gypsy while you're in NYC? Not this trip, but hopefully.
Yeah, it won't be open while we're there.
Yeah. Did you go and see the musical Cable Street? If so, what did you think about it? I saw it last time around, and I thought it needed a bit more development. I haven't seen this run. I think it's trying to tell a really big story of multiple different communities in a space. I think they do a good job of trying to do it there, but in a space that is not really big enough, and with a cast that is not really big enough, because you are trying to reflect a trio of diasporas, and it's, you know, it's hard to do that. It's like ragtime scale, but off West End, and that's its challenge.
Archie, yes. I think in the future cabaret at some point will allow photography, but it will like of the experience and stuff, but it won't be for a very long time because even with like media calls they don't do media calls or anything like that either.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a while away.
Brian Archie's talking about in the West End, which where it's not a union rule because famously we have no unions. How long are we going to be in New York for? Not in December, sadly. Mostly in November. Do you think My Sons Are Queer will make it back to New York? They are trying. Efforts are being made. I think I have my thoughts on that are similar to my thoughts on Operation Mincemeat. Swept Away is already a big hit. It's not, because it hasn't opened yet. That's not how it works. I hope it does very well, but that's not how it works. Did you see that interview that Robert Ick did for Oedipus and Player Kings going to New York with Ian McKellen? I think it will go to the Park Avenue Armory like both Hamlet and the Doctor. I didn't see that, but that would make a lot of sense. Wouldn't it? Yes. First Broadway show I ever saw was Les Mis with Donna Vivino as young Cassette. Yes, in the original Broadway cast, Donna Vivino was a young Cassette. Eva says, tell Brian I said hi. Brian, Eva says hi. Oh. Should I get you Mickey's Very Merry tickets? I get a $30 discount. That doesn't seem like enough of a discount. Mickey's Very Merry, that's like in Disney World.
Yeah, that's for Christmas.
Don't tempt me, Brian. I can't do it. Because then I'll have to go for 2 weeks. Who would you like to see host the Oliviers? I mean, I'm just enjoying Hannah.
Yeah.
At the moment.
I mean, I lived when Mel LeBarry was hosting the What's on Stage Awards, so I'd have that again.
Oh, yes. Fun. Mel was great.
Yeah.
Brian, this is too tempting, and I will message you privately. What do you think is next for Empire Records, the musical that closes today? This was the one that's in...
It's the one with Lorna Courtney in.
Yes, that everyone went to go and see.
Yes.
I was hearing good things.
3 minutes.
Doing well. New World Stages is a vibe. Yes.
Yes.
Have you heard about All In, Comedy About Love? One of the most stacked rotating casts I've ever seen, and we'll be trying to see both Lin-Manuel and John Mulaney. Yes, I don't entirely understand how it works. Did you ever see American Psycho, the musical? Yes, I saw it at the Almeida. Do you think it has potential for a future revival? I think someone should definitely pick it up and do it again.
I mean, I feel like it's good for like the amateur dramatics and stuff because this it's perfect for Amjam and regional.
Yeah,
because like it has such a range of ages. It's things that would excite people locally. I'm sad
they're not doing a tour.
It's sad because when something's open for licensing, that means that the original producer has said that's it. Yeah. They're not doing any more with it.
There's an immersive American Psycho revival planned for next year in Brooklyn. In many ways, Brooklyn is an immersive American Psycho revival, so that makes a lot of sense.
Wasn't that the Punch Drunk one?
That's Immersive Phantom.
No, but they were announced for American Psycho as well, I think.
I don't know if I want to be immersed in Americans. I don't know if that's a world I need to be immersed in. Why are they never immersive, like, shows of, like, nice, happy places? Why is it, like, immersive Americans? Yeah, that seems fun.
I hope Groundhog Day comes back, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would love Groundhog Day to come back, but it's been a moment. Yes, Cincinnati Playhouse did an immersive murder mystery in a corn maze. I remember you telling me, yes. when do you think we're going to get the Chicago Shakespeare Theatre casting for the North American premiere of Sunday Afternoon? That is not a question that I know the answer to.
Ellie.
Immersive Starlight. Now you're in the skates. Starlight is already immersive, and no one needs to put me in roller skates. Will
Right,
Waitress ever return back to the West End? Possibly.
We've got 1 minute left.
When do you expect the licensing for Wicked to come out?
I don't.
I'll be an old
Yeah.
man.
Especially with the films.
Yeah.
That should help boost those pre-existing productions to stay longer.
I think they did do Sweeney in a Bakery, yes. If anyone doesn't have any burning questions, although again, murder. If anyone doesn't have any burning questions,
let's bring this to a conclusion.
We will wind down. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We've still got 100 people here on YouTube. Rodney, we're still here. 3 hours later.
To go, yeah.
We are going to go and sleep. Tomorrow is a busy day.
Yeah. Oh, Ben's just joined.
Busy day. Ben, you're joining as we're leaving. No. So sad. Yes, everyone on TikTok. If you're not already, you can find both of us on YouTube and on Instagram. Here's Aaron James. I am MickeyJoTheatre. Everyone on YouTube, you can find Aaron James on YouTube as well. He is tagged in the title of this live. Go and subscribe to him on YouTube because he has also been making more theatre vlogs recently. And more importantly, go and watch our brand new challenge video with Ellie Talks Theatre. We did a scavenger hunt. It got real close in the middle and some crazy things happened. It's probably the best challenge we've ever done. We both all had a really great time doing it. I have been editing it for like 10 hours today. Please go and watch it so that that's worth it. Thank
you so much. See you soon.
Thank you for watching. I hope that everyone's staying safe and you have a stagey day.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Goodbye. Good.